Chapter 26-31. At the same time, the horn on the war soul's head spewed out a black light, emitting a strange aura. Boom! When the black light shrouded the area, Qin Feiyang's cultivation level plummeted. Lower tier, initial tier, half-ninth heaven state. That's right. In an instant, he was beaten back to his original state. What's going on? King Yu and the 10 commanders were shocked. A trace of bewilderment also appeared on Qin Feiyang's face. Divine Python Domain suppresses the opponent by 3 small realms. How is it? Do you feel despair? Du Yuntian laughed maniacally. So it's a divine ability. Qin Feiyang mumbled. It wasn't easy for you to raise your cultivation level to the greater 9th heaven state, but now you're beaten back to your original state. You must feel helpless. You must feel aggrieved. Because if we were outside, it would be easy for you to kill me. In the past, I'm afraid you've never taken me seriously. But now, you're going to die in my hands. Huh, Qin Feiyang, oh, Qin Feiyang, you asked for it. You could have stayed in the divine land, but you came to the Nether King's hell. But don't worry. After you die, I'll personally deliver your bones to Qin Batian and let him experience the pain of losing a loved one. Die! Du Yuntian roared. The war soul opened its mouth and charged toward Qin Feiyang. Don't be so smug. I've seen war souls more powerful than yours. What's yours? Since you've revealed your war soul, I'll show you what a true war soul is. Following Qin Feiyang's words, a blood dragon appeared out of nowhere. This was the purple gold dragon soul. Although the purple gold dragon soul had changed greatly due to the bloodline power, its divine ability remained the same. Roar! The blood dragon let out a loud dragon roar. The flesh between its eyebrows split open, and a huge eye appeared. The Eye of Heaven. One of the top 10 heaven-defying divine abilities, it had the terrifying ability to replicate all attacks. As soon as the Eye of Heaven opened, a giant python appeared above Qin Feiyang's head. Wisps of black light appeared and shrouded Du Yuntian. Immediately, Du Yuntian's cultivation began to plummet. 9th heaven state. 9th greater 9th heaven state. 9th lower 9th heaven state. His cultivation level dropped by 3 small realms. How is this possible? Du Yuntian was shocked. Qin Feiyang coldly said, Eye of Heaven. It's the Eye. King Yu yelled. That's it, the Eye of Heaven is one of the 10 great heaven-defying battle souls, and it ranks in the top 3. This kid is indeed full of surprises. The 10 times commanders, divine AA, divine is AA, the game is over. Divine Emperor Prison, take it away. Qin Feiyang activated another divine ability. The Emperor's divine domain suddenly fell. Du Yuntian was immediately imprisoned, and his consciousness went blank. Consciousness deprivation. Although Du Yuntian's cultivation was higher than Qin Feiyang's and could only deprive him of consciousness for a moment, one should know that for an expert of this level, a moment was enough to kill. Qin Feiyang stepped forward, bypassed Du Yuntian's war soul, and landed in front of Du Yuntian. Divine power roared as he punched Du Yuntian's lower abdomen. Boom! Du Yuntian was sent flying, and with a crack, his sea of qi shattered. Bang! Finally. With a loud bang, Du Yuntian crashed into the mountain below, creating a huge pit. Ah, the intense pain made him howl in agony. His war soul also dissipated. Qin Feiyang landed on top of the crater with a single step. He looked down at Du Yuntian and said, Do you see it? This is the difference between you and me. Even if your cultivation is higher than mine, I can still kill you. Du Yuntian endured the intense pain and got up. He was in a sorry state. He looked up at Qin Feiyang, his eyes full of unwillingness. You must be devastated. You're so much stronger than me, but you're the one lying on the ground. What do you think? Do you know the taste of despair? Qin Feiyang said lightly. I don't accept this. Du Yuntian roared hysterically. His divine sense surged wildly toward Qin Feiyang. It's true that you don't accept this. You and Wu Baichuan don't deserve to be on the same level as me. Qin Feiyang said lightly. Without any fancy movements, he threw a punch at Du Yuntian. After Du Yuntian's war soul dissipated, his cultivation returned to the ninth heaven realm. With his physical body and strength, it was not a problem for him to resist Du Yuntian's divine sense. Boom! With a punch, Du Yuntian's divine sense was destroyed. Du Yuntian held his head and howled in pain. He felt as if his divine sense was about to be torn apart. I'm asking you. Do you know the taste of despair? Qin Feiyang landed in front of Du Yuntian and grabbed him by the neck. His eyes were extremely cold. Ha! Du Yuntian laughed loudly. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but frown. Do you really think that Wu Baichuan and I will die? Let me tell you. Before we entered the Nether King's hell, we already split off a strand of our divine sense. So, even if you kill us in the Nether King's hell, we won't die. Ha, you should be the one in despair. You finally had the chance to kill us, but it was all for nothing. Du Yuntian laughed wildly. I see. But so what? If I can kill you once, I can kill you a second time, a third time, in this lifetime, you can only tremble at my feet. Qin Feiyang clenched his fist and crushed Du Yuntian's neck. Blood spurted out like a fountain. His head fell to the ground. But even though his head fell to the ground, Du Yuntian was still laughing wildly. Qin Feiyang stomped his foot again and crushed Du Yuntian's head and divine sense. Throughout the whole process, his expression did not change at all. Amazing! King Yu murmured. There was a difference of 5 small realms between the half-ninth heaven realm and the peak ninth heaven realm. Originally, they felt that it was simply impossible for Qin Feiyang to win. But they did not expect that. In the end, Qin Feiyang crushed Du Yuntian like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. This was really a miracle. They all know to split off a strand of their divine sense. Not bad, all of them are quite smart, but a clown will always be a clown, Qin Feiyang mumbled and raised his head to look at the dragon princess. Princess Dragon's pupils shrank. A deep sense of fear emerged in her heart. Before you entered hell, you should have also split your divine sense. Then I don't need to do anything. You can end it yourself. Qin Feiyang said lightly. Princess Dragon sighed deeply and directly self-destructed in the void. King Yu waved his hand and instantly suppressed the fluctuations of the self-destruction. Qin Feiyang also shut down the rising dragon technique and his cultivation fell to the initial ninth heaven realm. However, the effect of the heavenly dust divine pill had to wait for it to dissipate. In other words, when the time limit was up, the heavenly dust divine pill would lose its effect. Qin Feiyang could not take the initiative to disperse the effect of the heavenly dust divine pill. Are you okay? King Yu and the 10 commanders landed in front of Qin Feiyang and asked. Not now. But something big might happen later. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. The after-effects of Hua Yi after taking the heavenly dust divine pill were still vivid in his mind. Lying on the ground, unable to move, he was like a cripple. Since it's over, shall we go back? King Yu asked. Qin Feiyang nodded. King Yu waved his hand and swept up Qin Feiyang, returning to the ancient city. The 10 commanders followed closely behind. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and asked, Senior King Yu, where is Fallen Valley? King Yu said, Fallen Valley is the most terrifying forbidden area in hell. Forbidden area? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. Let me tell you this. Even I don't dare to enter Fallen Valley. King Yu shook his head. So scary? Qin Feiyang was shocked. It's also because no one can enter that we don't know what's in Fallen Valley. King Yu said. Is there a heaven-defying artifact? Qin Feiyang asked. Of course. King Yu nodded. You haven't even entered. How do you know there are heaven-defying artifacts? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Although I've never entered the Valley of the Fallen, I've found a heaven-defying artifact outside of it. For example, the Sunset Godly Bow was found outside Fallen Valley. Think about it. If there are heaven-defying artifacts outside Fallen Valley, how can there not be any inside? King Yu said. So that's the case. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. No wonder Princess Dragon said that Yi Zhong and the rest might have gone to Fallen Valley. Even my blood demon tribe can't enter, let alone them. King Yu smiled in disdain. We can't just leave them be, right? Qin Feiyang said. Don't think too much now. Stay in the ancient city and cultivate. As for Yi Zhong and the rest, I will send the 10 commanders to Fallen Valley to investigate. King Yu said. Then I'll feel bad for troubling you. Qin Feiyang smiled. Brother Qin, you're treating us as outsiders. Besides, the dragons are our common enemy. We should do our part. Xuede and the rest looked at Qin Feiyang with dissatisfaction. Yes, yes, yes. I'm treating you as an outsider. Qin Feiyang nodded with a smile on his face. In the eyes of others, the blood demon tribe was like a devil. However, in his eyes, they were a group of cute people. Time passed quickly. The effect of the heavenly dust divine pill finally disappeared. Qin Feiyang's body shook violently and he almost fell. What happened to you? King Yu and the 10 commanders looked at him with concern. I'm fine. Qin Feiyang shook his head and his cultivation returned to the half-step 9th heaven realm. However, when he moved his muscles and bones, he was surprised to find that he was only weak. He wasn't paralyzed like Hui. What was going on? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang patted his head. This must have something to do with the dragon-shaped pill aura. The heavenly dust divine pill that Hui took back then only had pill patterns and hadn't reached the level of a divine pill. But now, the heavenly dust divine pill that he took had 4 dragon-shaped pill auras. In short, the more dragon-shaped pill auras, the smaller the side effects. This was good news. At least after the effect of the heavenly dust divine pill disappeared, he wouldn't have to wait for death. Chapter 2632. After returning to the ancient King Yu city, Qin Feiyang entered the 2nd level to cultivate in seclusion. The 10 commanders immediately headed to the Fallen Valley. The ancient King Yu city calmed down. But in other places, there were killings everywhere. There were killings between the blood demon tribe and humans, there were killings between the beasts and humans, there were also killings between humans in order to snatch treasures. On a giant mountain. A young man in black stood on the mountain peak and looked down with bloodthirsty eyes. Below, more than a dozen figures were fighting with a group of beasts. There were men and women, old and young, and they were all at the transcendent God realm. But the beasts were also at the transcendent God realm. In the end, both sides suffered. Right at this moment, the young man in black moved. His blood-red hair fluttered in the wind. Brother, we have used up our divine life pills. Help us. Half of the people were killed in the battle and the other half were lying on the ground. When they saw the young man in black appear, they quickly called for help. Help you? When the Cloud Mountain village was in trouble, besides Qin Feiyang, who else came to help us? The young man in black laughed sinisterly. What? You are related to Qin Feiyang? The group was shocked. That's right. He is my benefactor. The young man in black laughed sinisterly and a gush of blood-red light emerged from his body. He was like a devil that appeared to be chilling. What are you trying to do? The group was puzzled. Except for Qin Feiyang, no matter if you are a human or a dragon, you all deserve to die. The young man in black laughed sinisterly and the blood-red light rushed toward the group of people like a tide. Ah, there were screams immediately. The blood and flesh of those people were swallowed by the blood-red light. In a short while, the group of people died on the spot and only their skeletons were left. Not only them, but the bodies of the few people and beasts who died were also swallowed by the blood-red light and only their skeletons were left. Awesome! Devouring the cultivation and flesh of living creatures to strengthen myself. Now, my cultivation has increased by a large margin. Soon, I will be able to break through to the Sir God realm. Just you wait, dragons. I will make you pay the blood debt of Cloud Mountain Village 100 times, 1,000 times. The black-clothed young man smiled ferociously. Then, like a ghost, he disappeared into the forest ahead. Wherever it passed, the blood-red light swept in all directions. All war gods and ferocious beasts below war gods were turned into skeletons. The bloodthirsty glow emitted from the young man's eyes grew even more terrifying. Divine Land. Divine Dragon Island. Mother. A white-robed woman walked into a large hall and bowed to a blurry figure above her. The white-clothed woman was none other than Princess Dragons. However, it was formed by a strand of divine soul. The hazy figure was naturally Long Zun. You died too? Long Zun frowned. Your daughter is incompetent, please punish me, mother. Princess Dragons lowered her head and said. Long Zun asked, was it Qin Feiyang? Yes. Princess Dragons nodded. This damned little bastard. Why is he still so arrogant even after coming to the Underworld King's hell? Long Zun was furious. In just over 100 years, she had already lost 2 great ancestral dragons and her own daughter. In this situation, no one would be able to remain calm, let alone Long Zun. Princess Dragon sighed, with the Blood Demon Clan protecting him, it's difficult to kill him. Blood Demon Clan, Princess Dragons clenched her hands and said, no matter how powerful they are, they're just a group of livestock raised by your father. Father, since father is the ruler of the Underworld King's hell, then everything in the Underworld King's hell belongs to father. But why did father want us to go to the Underworld King's hell? He can just give us the heaven-defying artifacts of the Underworld King's hell. Princess Dragons frowned. Long Zun coldly snorted, he said that this is a test for us dragons. Test? Is this necessary? Sometimes I wonder if he's the dragon god of us dragons. Princess Dragon said. Sigh. You don't understand your father. As long as it's his decision, no one can make him change it. Long Zun shook her head and sighed. Princess Dragons asked, then mother, do you understand him? Long Zun pondered for a while and shook her head, to be honest, I don't know much about him. Your father is like duckweed, no one knows where he is, and no one knows what he's doing. What an irresponsible person. Princess Dragons coldly snorted. I'm already used to it. Long Zun shook her head and laughed at herself. Princess Dragons was silent for a while and said, Mother, there's one more thing. Wu Baichuan and Du Yuntian are both from the Dragon Slayer Palace, and they seem to be the young lords of the Dragon Slayer Palace. Wu Baichuan. Du Yuntian? Long Zun was stunned. The two of them sneaked into the Dragon God Palace in the east and west respectively. However, they both died in the hands of Qin Feiyang. But like us dragons, they split a wisp of their divine soul before entering the Underworld King's hell. Princess Dragon said. Damn it! These people from the Dragon Slayer Palace are really lawless. They actually dared to let people sneak into the Dragon God Palace. I'll send people to the East and West Dragon God Palaces to kill them now. Dragons were furious. It's too late. Because they definitely won't leave their divine soul on Divine Dragon Island. Princess Dragons shook her head. Long Zun raised his eyebrows and suddenly looked stunned. You just said that it was Qin Feiyang who killed them? Yes. Princess Dragons nodded. That's not right. Aren't they all from the Dragon Slayer Palace? Long Zun was suspicious. I also thought about it, but I guess there's only one possibility. There's internal conflict in the Dragon Slayer Palace. Princess Dragon said. Hee hee, what a bunch of stupid humans. Long Zun laughed. Stupid indeed. Princess Dragons nodded. A disunited Dragon Slayer Palace wants to destroy them dragons? Isn't this a joke? Princess Dragons pondered for a while and said worriedly, Mother, Qin Feiyang has the protection of the blood demon race. I'm afraid that Yi Zhong and the rest will follow in our footsteps. This matter, Long Zun lowered his head and pondered. After a long time, he sighed, Daughter, to tell you the truth, I'm also very worried. Do you know? The ancient city of King Yu is a time array. What? Princess Dragons was startled. And this time array is 500 years per day. If what you said is true, that Qin Feiyang has a good relationship with the blood demon race, then King Yu might let Qin Feiyang enter the time array to cultivate 500 years per day. Do you know what this means? Hell has been open for 1,000 years. In this period of time, with Qin Feiyang's talent, he can definitely break through to the 9th heaven realm. Long Zun said. Then what should we do? Are we just going to let him grow like this? Princess Dragons asked. What else can we do? Long Zun sighed. I really hate this father of mine more and more now. Even hell has a time array that is 500 years per day, but our Divine Dragon Island only has a few dozen years per day. Why did father give all these good things to outsiders? Princess Dragons said angrily. Long Zun was silent. In fact, he had some complaints in his heart. Lass, do you really hate father that much? Suddenly, a laugh sounded out of thin air. Following closely, a blurry figure descended in the main hall. This person was about 1.8 meters tall. His face couldn't be seen clearly, and one couldn't sense any aura of cultivation. However, he stood there like the ruler of heaven and earth. There was an invisible majestic aura around him. Father? Princess Dragons was stunned. Long Zun also looked at the person in shock. What's wrong? This is my home. I'm back home. Is there a need for you to make such a fuss? Dragon God looked at the mother and daughter speechlessly. No, why are you back? Long Zun asked. Can't I come back? Dragon God said. That's not right. I usually can't find you. Why did you take the initiative to come back today? Long Zun frowned. He felt like he was dreaming. My daughter is being bullied. Can't I come and take a look? Dragon God laughed. You know that your daughter is being bullied? What were you doing earlier? Long Zun's resentment suddenly rose. I also have my difficulties. Dragon God was helpless. Princess Dragons asked suspiciously, Father, you have difficulties? In her heart, her father was omnipotent and the strongest person in the world. Lass. This world isn't as simple as you think. Although your father is very strong, there are people stronger than me in this world. There are some things that I don't have the final say. Dragon God shook his head. Stronger people? Princess Dragons was shocked and asked, Who is it? The real God of creation. Dragon God said. God of creation? Princess Dragons was even more confused. There are some things that I can't tell you. You just need to know that there are people stronger than you. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let me help you reconstruct your body and divine soul first. Dragon God said. With a wave of his hand, a divine light swept into Princess Dragon's body. In just an instant, Princess Dragon's body and divine soul were successfully reconstructed. This kind of heaven-defying ability shocked even Princess Dragons herself. Dragon God asked with a smile, "Are you interested in going to hell again?" Again? Princess Dragons was stunned. Have you forgotten? Father is the ruler of hell. I can go in whenever I want. Dragon God said domineeringly. Go, go, go. Princess Dragons nodded repeatedly. She must find Qin Feiyang to settle the score. This was not the first time. Back in the northern region in Dongling, she was repeatedly teased by Qin Feiyang. If she didn't get back her face, what kind of Princess Dragons was she? Then let's go. Dragon God smiled, waved his hand, and disappeared without a trace with Princess Dragons. Wait, before Dragon Sovereign could react, they were gone. The resentment in her heart deepened. It wasn't easy to come back, but he didn't even say a word of concern. What kind of husband and wife are they? At the same time. In a certain place. Qin Badian was cultivating when he suddenly opened his eyes. As if sensing something, he looked in the direction of Divine Dragon Island. Feiyang, all hope is on you, you must come back alive. A moment later. Qin Badian retracted his gaze, looked up at the sky, and muttered. Chapter 26-33. Ancient City of King Yuang. Without the white-eyed wolf causing trouble, the blood demon race felt much more relaxed. They were also quite impressed with Qin Feiyang. Even such a lawless person could be tamed into obedience. As for the evil force that was absorbed by the white-eyed wolf and the lunatic, it was also slowly recovering. Late at night. The evil moon rose. The quiet ancient city of King Yuang was shrouded in the color of blood. Whoosh! Suddenly, two figures descended above the ancient city of King Yuang. Father, Qin Feiyang is definitely still here. That's right. These two people were the Dragon God and Princess Dragons. Don't worry. He dares to bully my daughter. I will definitely not let him have a good time. The Dragon God smiled. Princess Dragons giggled and looked down at the ancient city of King Yuang. She shouted, Qin Feiyang, come out and die. This shout directly broke the silence of the ancient city of King Yuang. This voice, on the first floor of the hall. King Yuang, who was sitting on the stone chair and resting with his eyes closed, suddenly stood up. His eyes were filled with disbelief. On the second floor of the hall. Qin Feiyang, the lunatic and the white-eyed wolf also opened their eyes in shock. Princess Dragon's voice? Was it an illusion? What's wrong? Weren't you very arrogant during the day? Are you hiding inside and not daring to come out? Princess Dragon's voice could be heard again. It's not an illusion. Qin Feiyang's body and mind were greatly shocked. Little Qin Zi, what's going on? Didn't you say that she had already self-destructed in the Dragon Mountains? The white-eyed wolf asked. How would I know? Qin Feiyang stared at it. During the day, he indeed saw Princess Dragon self-destructing. Why was she in hell now? Moreover, she came to the ancient city of King Yuang openly. She even came at night. Didn't she know that the blood demon race was more terrifying at night than during the day? What was going on? Whoosh! A figure appeared opposite Qin Feiyang. It was Ghost King. King Yu said solemnly, Brother Qin, did you hear that? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Why is this happening? The Yu King frowned. A person who had self-detonated would actually appear in the hell of the King of Hell? Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, and said, all of you stay here. Do not release your auras. Senior Yu King and I will go out and take a look. All right. Madman and White-Eyed Wolf nodded. They also knew that once their whereabouts were exposed, it would affect Qin Feiyang greatly. Go. Qin Feiyang looked at the Yu King and said. The Ghost King waved his hand, and the two of them immediately appeared in the air above the palace. They looked up. Immediately. Their gazes locked onto the dragon god. The other blood demons in the ancient city also ran out and looked at the dragon god suspiciously. Qin Feiyang, I'm here to settle accounts with you. Princess Dragons stared at Qin Feiyang and said resentfully. But Qin Feiyang acted as if he didn't hear anything and sized up the dragon god. He couldn't see his face clearly and couldn't sense his aura, but he was with Princess Dragons, and looking at Princess Dragon's posture, she was full of confidence. Could it be, suddenly? A terrifying thought arose in Qin Feiyang's mind. You're the dragon god. Qin Feiyang said. Dragon god. The Yu King's gaze trembled. The dragon god didn't answer, and he seemed to be sizing up Qin Feiyang as well. Is he really the dragon god? The Yu King transmitted his voice. Princess Dragons will appear in the hell of the King of Hell again. And did you notice? Her physical body has been reconstructed. I think only the dragon god can do this. The most important thing is, they actually dared to come to the Yu King's ancient city at night. What does this mean? It means that they're not afraid of the blood demon race's transformation at all. To be so fearless, who else could it be other than the dragon god? Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Hearing Qin Feiyang's analysis, the Yu King's heart suddenly tensed up. Qin Feiyang looked up at the dragon god and sneered, Are you here to avenge your daughter? The dragon god still didn't say anything. Qin Feiyang looked at Princess Dragons, shook his head, and said, It seems that you're only capable of this. What did you say? Princess Dragons raised her eyebrows. If you're really capable, you should come to me openly and not drag your father here. Do you know what you're doing? Relying on someone else's might. Qin Feiyang had a look of disdain. Shut up. You're about to die and you still dare to be arrogant. Princess Dragons was enraged. Arrogant? I don't dare to compare myself with you, the Princess Dragons. Qin Feiyang sneered. You, Princess Dragons was furious to the extreme. You're not convinced? It just so happens that you're also at the half-step 9 heavens realm. Why don't we have a fair fight? If I lose to you, you can do whatever you want with me. Qin Feiyang said. Do you think I'm stupid? Just like what you said to Du Yuntian, why should I waste my time with you? Princess Dragon sneered. That's true. You're only capable of this much. If not for the fact that you're the daughter of the dragon sovereign and the dragon god, would have killed you in the north region. You should be glad that you were born into a good family. Qin Feiyang said. Princess Dragons clenched her fists tightly as if she was greatly threatened. Her eyes were a little red. Humiliating my daughter in front of me, is it appropriate for you to do this? The dragon god finally spoke. This voice, Qin Feiyang's body trembled as he stared at the dragon god, killing intent surging in his eyes. The dragon god sighed again. I know you're not afraid of anything, but at least give me some face. It's you. You bastard. Return the lives of Big Cousin and the inner demons. Qin Feiyang suddenly roared, his hair standing on end. He raised his fist and charged toward the dragon god. Brother Qin, don't. King Yu's expression changed. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang seemed to have been possessed. He only had the dragon god in his eyes, and his killing intent was monstrous. At the same time, the dragon god did not have any intention of dodging. Qin Feiyang punched the dragon god's chest with all his might, but the dragon god did not even move. Bastard! I must kill you! Qin Feiyang roared as his divine power surged out and bombarded the dragon god's body. However, no matter how hard he tried, no matter what method he used, he could not cause any harm to the dragon god. The dragon god was also like Mount Tai, not retreating a single step. What's going on? At this moment, not only King Yu and the blood demons, but even Princess Dragons was confused. Why did Qin Feiyang seem to have changed into a different person when he heard his father's voice? Also, why didn't his father fight back? Could it be that they knew each other before? After an unknown amount of time, Qin Feiyang lay in the void, panting like a cow, but the dragon god was still unscathed. Have you had enough? The dragon god spoke. Qin Feiyang panted as he looked up at the dragon god and said, "What did they do wrong? Why did you kill them?" That's right. The person standing in front of him was Ice Dragon. Although Ice Dragon had transformed into his human form, his voice did not change. Qin Feiyang could recognize him immediately. Can you blame me for this? Ice Dragon was helpless. If I don't blame you, then blame me? Qin Feiyang roared. It's really your fault. Ice Dragon said. Qin Feiyang was surprised. Ice Dragon said, "Do you still remember the elixir I asked Fire Python to send you?" Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Of course he remembered this elixir. If not for this elixir, he would have died long ago. Then do you know why I gave you this elixir? Ice Dragon asked. I don't know. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Then I will tell you now. This elixir was exchanged with the lives of the inner demons and Lu Jiajin. Ice Dragon said. What? Qin Feiyang's body and mind trembled. In other words, they used their own lives in exchange for yours. Ice Dragon said. So it was me who killed them, Qin Feiyang murmured. Yes. It was you who killed them. But I also admire them. They were willing to sacrifice themselves to save you. But it was also very stupid. Exchanging 2 lives for 1, this is simply a losing trade. Ice Dragon shook his head. Shut up. How can a beast like you understand the feelings between family members? If it were them, I would also exchange my life for theirs. Qin Feiyang roared. His eyes were bloodshot. Princess Dragon shouted, You bastard, how dare you scold father? Hee hee, haha, Qin Feiyang couldn't stop laughing when he heard this. It was as if he had gone crazy. Suddenly, he arrived in front of the dragon princess in a single step and grabbed her by the neck. Those blood-red eyes were like a devil's. Even if the dragon god was next to her, Princess Dragons couldn't help but feel fear. What do you know? What do you know? You think your father is a good person? Huh, don't joke around. Back then at Miracle, we didn't provoke him, nor did we offend him, but he suddenly ran out to bite us like a mad dog. Unfortunately, with his strength, he can't kill me at all. How is it? Are you shocked? Even your father can't kill me? Qin Feiyang looked up to the sky and laughed like a madman. The big hand that was holding Princess Dragons also unconsciously tightened. Woo, Princess Dragons struggled frantically. In the past, I didn't really hate you dragons. It was only because you wanted to deprive me of my bloodline power that I had no choice but to fight back. But now, listen to me carefully. If I don't eliminate you dragons, I, Qin Feiyang, swear that I'm not a human. Qin Feiyang let out a fierce roar as he exerted force with his 5 fingers. With a cracking sound, the dragon princess's neck immediately shattered. Following that, Qin Feiyang punched Princess Dragon's head again. You really don't put this emperor in your eyes. Ice Dragon snorted coldly, took a step forward, and slapped Qin Feiyang's back with his palm. Puff! Qin Feiyang immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, and his entire body smashed into the ancient city below like a meteorite. Brother Qin! The surrounding blood demons swarmed over, their faces full of concern. Qin Feiyang struggled to get up. Although it was only the power of one palm, the 5 internal organs in his body had already been shattered. Ice Dragon looked coldly at Qin Feiyang and waved his hand. A divine light entered Princess Dragon's body, and her injuries instantly healed. Father, kill him, kill him! Princess Dragons roared, her eyes full of resentment. In that moment, she clearly felt that Qin Feiyang didn't show any mercy. If it weren't for her father's timely action, she would have been destroyed. Chapter 26-34. Don't worry, I won't let him have an easy time. Ice Dragon comforted the princess and looked down at Qin Feiyang, saying, You said that I can't kill you, right? Qin Feiyang wiped the blood from his mouth and sneered, If you can kill me, would I be alive now? All right. I'll kill you now. The figure of the ice dragon shuddered as a tremendous aura burst out from it. In just an instant, Qin Feiyang was enveloped by the pressure, unable to move his body. He didn't even have the strength to speak. The surrounding blood demons were also motionless as if they were frozen. Their faces were filled with terror. Isn't it easy to kill you? Ice Dragon shouted. The pressure continued to rise. Qin Feiyang immediately felt as if his body was being squeezed by several invisible mountains, and blood was spurting out from all the pores on his body. His body was in incomparable pain, and even his bones were breaking. However, Qin Feiyang didn't even frown, maintaining his previous posture, looking coldly at Ice Dragon. What should I do? King Yu was anxious. He really wanted to help Qin Feiyang, but facing the dragon god, he didn't have the slightest bit of courage. The powerful and mysterious dragon god was like an unattainable mountain that he could only look up to. But suddenly, Ice Dragon withdrew his pressure and said indifferently, If you're willing to kneel down and beg for mercy now, I can consider sparing your life. Brother Qin, compromise with him. Where there's life, there's hope. King Yu transmitted his voice. But Qin Feiyang turned a deaf ear, looking at Ice Dragon and sneered, Are you worthy of making me kneel down and beg for mercy? King Yu was stunned, laughing bitterly in his heart. Why was he so stubborn? After so many years, your character really hasn't changed at all. However, people like you are destined not to live long. Ice Dragon also laughed, then shook his head regretfully. A beast like you, even if you live long, will suffer retribution in the end. Qin Feiyang said. Retribution? Ice Dragon's body stiffened. This guy really had an unforgiving mouth. Boom! The pressure increased once again. Do you think I'll just sit and wait for my death? Qin Feiyang said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, a monstrous murderous intent exploded. This is, kill character formula. Princess Dragons was shocked. Kill character formula? The Ghost King was bewildered. The surrounding blood demons also stared at Qin Feiyang in bewilderment. What was the kill formula? Even the Princess of the Dragons was shocked. I'd like to see just how powerful the power of law in the Nether King's hell is. Qin Feiyang let out a roar. Accompanied by a loud clanging sound, the blood-red long sword flew across the sky. Boom! Firmament. Suddenly, the power of the rules descended. Qin Feiyang looked up at the rule force and roared, Kill me if you can. Clang! He gripped his blood-colored sword and charged madly at the power of laws. Brother Qin, King Yu wanted to dissuade him. However, he was shocked by the courage Qin Feiyang displayed at this moment. He even dared to provoke the rule force? How much courage did he need? If you can't kill me, then you can wait to be destroyed by me. And you? Qin Feiyang spoke again. After saying that, he looked at Ice Dragon with a murderous look and rushed toward the rule force like a moth darting into a flame. Seeing this, Ice Dragon couldn't help but disperse his pressure. After the imprisoned blood demons below regained their freedom, they immediately fled out of the city. King Yu did the same. Although he wanted to help, the powerlessness and fear in his heart made him not dare to do anything. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the rule force descended and the terrifying aura shattered millions of miles of sky. However, Qin Feiyang didn't shrink back at all and slashed with his blood-colored long sword. Boundless blood-colored light dyed the world red. Crack! However, in just an instant, the blood-colored long sword directly shattered. The destructive waves emitted by the rule force enveloped Qin Feiyang. In an instant, his body was covered in cuts and bruises, dripping with blood. Dragon God, let him go. He is just an insensible child. You are high and mighty. Is there a need to be calculative with him? King Yu couldn't help but kneel in the void and beg Ice Dragon. However, Ice Dragon turned a blind eye to him. Lord Dragon God, we are all begging you. Please spare his life. The other blood demons also knelt in the void and begged. What are you doing? He kept you in captivity like livestock in Hades' hell and you are still begging him? Don't give up the dignity of your blood demon race for me. Qin Feiyang roared. However, King Yu and the other blood demons didn't seem to hear him and looked at Ice Dragon pleadingly. Blood demon race, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but tear up when he saw this scene. Based on the blood demon's friendship, he couldn't just sit back and do nothing. One day, he, Qin Feiyang, would definitely liberate the blood demons and return them their freedom. If I don't come out now, when will I? Qin Feiyang roared at the sky. Rumble. Clang. Immediately, a wave of fire rolled out of his body. Waves of shocking power immediately surged between heaven and earth. In the next moment, a palm-sized fire lotus appeared above Qin Feiyang's head. It appeared again. Ice Dragon muttered. Father, what do you mean by that? Princess Dragons was puzzled. Ice Dragon didn't answer. He stared at the fire lotus. That was right. This was Qin Feiyang's other great battle soul. Nine-leaf fire lotus. Crack. As soon as the nine-leaf fire lotus appeared, the 9 fire lotus leaves automatically fell off and turned into 9 shields. They surrounded Qin Feiyang and condensed into a fiery red barrier. Boom! The power of the rules carried with it an apocalyptic aura and blasted on the barrier. Under the incredulous gazes of the Ghost King and the blood demons, the barrier formed by the 9 fire lotus leaves actually blocked the attack of the power of the rules. How is this possible? Princess Dragon's eyes widened in anger. One had to know. The power of the rules of the Nether King's hell could even kill an imperishable stage powerhouse. However, it was actually blocked by Qin Feiyang's battle soul? Was this a dream? She rubbed her eyes hard and looked again. It wasn't a dream. Everything that had happened was real. What kind of battle soul was this? It was actually so powerful? Wait. Her mother seemed to have mentioned before that when Qin Feiyang barged into the inner sea, there seemed to be 2 great battle souls that helped Qin Feiyang block the attack of the sovereign divine weapon. Could this 9-leaf fire lotus be one of the 2 great battle souls? What kind of monster was this person? Not only did he have a heaven-defying divine technique, but he also had such a terrifying battle soul? Boom! The power of the rules seemed to have sensed Qin Feiyang's provocation. In an instant, 10 waves of power of the rules descended and blasted toward the 9 fire lotus leaves aggressively. This was a scene of apocalypse. If these 10 waves of power of the rules descended, even the ancient city of the Nether King wouldn't be able to protect itself. Qin Feiyang soared into the sky and took the initiative to meet him. The 9 fire lotus leaves kept spinning around Qin Feiyang. Waves of fire surged and covered the sky. At this moment, Qin Feiyang was as dazzling as the sun. Boom! 10 waves of power of the rules blasted toward him. Destructive waves swept out in all directions. The void collapsed crazily. However, Qin Feiyang was unharmed. Amazing! Powerful! The Nether King mumbled. He finally understood why the dragons were so afraid of this person. Who wouldn't be afraid of such heaven-defying means? That was right. This human was the hope of the blood demon tribe. Indeed, he's very powerful. However, do you really think that you can protect him? Today, I'd like to see how you're going to stop me. Ice Dragon looked at the 9-leaf fire lotus, and a bone-piercing cold current spread out. As soon as he finished speaking, the power of the rules descended from the sky. It wasn't 10 waves, but 100 waves. There were tens of thousands of them, densely packed together. Lord Nether King! Put away the ancient city of the Nether King! A blood demon shouted. The Nether King shuddered and hurriedly waved his hand. The ancient city of the Nether King immediately rose from the ground and shrunk rapidly before entering the Nether King's body. Retreat! Soon after, the Nether King gave another order, and all the blood demons immediately fled into the distance. Ice Dragon, do you want to die? However, they didn't know that at this moment, a loud and clear voice rang in Ice Dragon's mind. It carried a great sense of majesty. You, Ice Dragon was shocked. Clang! In the next instant, a wave of sword chi surged out of Qin Feiyang's body. It was a crimson battle sword. That was right. This was the Crimson Sword Soul. As soon as the Sword Soul appeared, its innate ability was activated automatically. A flaming beast shadow roared as it appeared. As the flaming beast shadow appeared, heaven and earth were shrouded in a monstrous and ferocious aura. Ice Dragon's pupils constricted. There seemed to be a hint of fear in his eyes. However, nobody saw this. This was because his entire body was shrouded in a layer of mist. If someone saw this, especially the princess of the dragons, they would definitely turn pale with fright. The dragon god, who stood at the peak of this world, actually had an existence that he was afraid of? Roar! Clang! The beast soul roared furiously. The sword soul roared. Its sharpness, ferocious aura, and overwhelming power blasted toward the power of the rules above. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion immediately erupted in the area. All the power of the rules were instantly annihilated. Even the sky was pierced by the sharpness of the sword soul and the ferocious aura of the beast soul. This scene was as if the sky had collapsed. It was shocking. Impossible, the princess of the dragons shook her head vigorously. How could a half-step to the 9th heaven realm fighting soul be so powerful? Was this still a fighting soul? Was there such a terrifying fighting soul in this world? Even the 10 great fighting souls, such as the Eye of Reincarnation and the Eye of Destiny, could not be compared to this. It really destroyed the power of the rules. In the distance, King Yu and the countless blood demons were extremely excited when they saw this scene. Previously, Qin Feiyang looked at the power of the rules and said, "If you can't kill me, I will destroy you." They thought that this was just a joke made by Qin Feiyang in a fit of anger. However, they did not expect him to really do it. This was Qin Feiyang. This was the human that the dragons were trying to get rid of. He was indeed amazing. Get lost at once. After the power of the rules was annihilated, the domineering voice rang in Ice Dragon's mind again. You shouldn't have appeared and broken the balance. You shouldn't have interfered in Qin Feiyang's life and death. After all, this is his own path. Ice Dragon snorted coldly. Father, who are you talking to? The princess of the dragons was puzzled. However, Ice Dragon did not seem to have heard her. His gaze was fixed on the 9-leaf fire lotus, the sword soul, and the beast soul. The King Yu and the blood demons were also puzzled. Why did he suddenly say this? Could it be those two fighting souls? How was that possible? Chapter 26:35. Qin Feiyang himself was also looking at the Ice Dragon and the two war souls suspiciously. He was sure that Ice Dragon was saying this to the two war spirits. After all, there was no one else here. But everyone knew that war spirits had no self-consciousness. Since they had no consciousness, how could they communicate with others? Break the balance and interfere with him? Did you not break the balance and interfere with him? I want to know who gave you the order to act so recklessly. Creation God? That majestic voice rang in Ice Dragon's mind again. Ice Dragon was silent. What? Nothing to say? Your strength is considered top-notch. Your job is to maintain the order of this world, not to bully others. I hope there won't be a next time, otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. That majestic voice snorted and did not speak again. Hearing this, Ice Dragon's face turned ugly. He really did not give him any face. Fortunately, his daughter did not hear it, otherwise, the great image in his daughter's heart would definitely fall in an instant. Father? Princess Dragon shouted, her eyes full of doubts. Ice Dragon came back to his senses and looked at her suspiciously. Are you okay? Princess Dragons asked with concern. What can happen to me? Ice Dragon smiled proudly and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying lightly, forget it, I will be magnanimous and forgive you this time. What? Princess Dragons looked at Ice Dragon in shock. Didn't he want to help her teach Qin Feiyang a lesson? How come in the blink of an eye, nothing happened? At the same time, Qin Feiyang did not have the slightest bit of gratitude. Because he knew that Ice Dragon let him go not because of mercy, but because he was afraid of the two war spirits. Not only was he not grateful, but his killing intent was even stronger than before. I said before, after destroying the rule force, I will destroy you. Don't even think about leaving. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and the sword spirit and beast spirit immediately shattered the void and charged towards Ice Dragon. Destroy me? You have to have the ability to do so. Take care of yourself. The Ice Dragon snorted coldly and disappeared with the Dragon Princess. He left just like that? The Ghost King and the Blood Demon race were stunned in the void and couldn't come back to their senses for a long time. Why are you running? If you have the guts, come back and fight me to the death. Qin Feiyang roared. However, the Ice Dragon did not respond, nor did it appear again. Damn it! I should be the one telling you to take care of yourself. Just you wait. Sooner or later, I will defeat you fair and square with my own abilities. Qin Feiyang looked up to the sky and roared, his eyes shining with incomparable determination. He would not give up on himself. Because this life was exchanged with the lives of Big Cousin and the inner demons. He did not have the right to give up on himself. The only thing he had to do was to work hard and step onto the peak of this world. He had to live up to the expectations of his cousin and the inner demons. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, looked at the two battle souls, bowed, and said, "Thank you." The two battle souls didn't say a word and directly disappeared into Qin Feiyang's body. Qin Feiyang looked up at the sky. The rule force didn't descend again. Was this a form of tacit agreement? Tacit agreement that he could continue to stay in hell? It seemed that the rule force also had things that it was afraid of. Brother Qin, are you okay? The Ghost King flew over and looked at Qin Feiyang with concern. I'm fine. Qin Feiyang smiled. It's good that you're fine. You really scared me just now. I thought you were going to be erased by the rule force. The Ghost King let out a long breath. I've said before that the ice dragon can't kill me. Not in the past, not now, and not in the future. Qin Feiyang sneered. The Ghost King looked at the anger on Qin Feiyang's face and asked, "Do you have any hatred with him?" "The hatred is as deep as the sea," Qin Feiyang said. The Ghost King's heart trembled, and he asked again, "Then you weren't joking when you said that you wanted to eliminate the dragons, right?" "Of course not. And not only the dragons, but also the ice dragon. Senior Ghost King, believe me, I will definitely kill the ice dragon and return freedom to your blood demon race," Qin Feiyang said. "I believe you." The Ghost King nodded repeatedly. However, there was a trace of worry on his face. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "I'm worried. The dragon god can't do anything to you, but it's easy for him to kill our blood demon race." The Ghost King sighed. Qin Feiyang frowned. "Are you afraid that he will take revenge on your blood demon race?" "Yes. After all, this time, the blood demon race and I are pleading for you. I believe that you will definitely defeat him sooner or later, but I'm afraid that the blood demon race might not be able to wait until that day." The Ghost King shook his head. Looking at the worried blood demon race around him, he could not help but feel sad. "That won't happen. Believe me, you will definitely be able to wait until that day comes. I will also come personally to bring all of you to the outside world. At that time, we will drink and chat merrily. We will fight side by side. We will face the unknown together," Qin Feiyang said. The Ghost King looked at Qin Feiyang in a daze. Then, he suddenly laughed out loud. "Huh. All right, I will wait for that day to come." Seeing this, the blood demon race around them were also overjoyed. "Everyone, listen up. From now on, Qin Feiyang is a friend of our blood demon race. No. He is a family member of our blood demon race. In the future, no matter who it is, if you meet Qin Feiyang, you must do your best to help him, even if it means risking your life." The Ghost King looked at the blood demon race around him and shouted. "Yes." All the blood demons answered in unison. Their voices were like a bell that pierced through the clouds. Deep in a mountain, Ice Dragon stood against the wind. The Princess Dragons stood silently at the side. There was an image in the void in front of the two of them. The image displayed the scene of the Ghost King ancient city. The Ice Dragon asked, "Daughter, do you have any thoughts after seeing this scene?" "No." The Princess Dragon snorted coldly. She looked away and looked at the Ice Dragon. She was quite dissatisfied with the Ice Dragon. The Ice Dragon smiled bitterly and sighed. "This is friendship. If your mother treated humans like how Qin Feiyang treated the blood demon race, how would things end up like this now? You still blame your mother?" The Princess Dragons raised her eyebrows. "I'm not blaming her. I'm just disappointed. If you want to gain the respect of others, you have to respect others first. Don't you understand such a simple logic?" The Ice Dragon sighed. "Humph. Don't you understand the character of humans? Selfish and greedy. If our dragon clan takes a step back, they will definitely think that our dragon clan is afraid of them and push their luck." The Princess Dragon said in disgust. "You can't generalize. Not all humans are like this. There are still a lot of people like Qin Feiyang who are loyal and affectionate. This is also the reason why I didn't allow your mother to slaughter humans." The Ice Dragon shook his head. "I beg to differ." The Princess Dragon snorted coldly. "Sigh." The Ice Dragon shook his head and sighed. He didn't say anything else and smiled. "Let's go back to the Divine Dragon Island." "Go back now?" What about Qin Feiyang? Are we just going to let him go like this? The princess dragons frowned. Since you hate Qin Feiyang so much, then work hard in your cultivation. In the future, use your true abilities to defeat him personally. The ice dragon said. The princess dragons fell silent upon hearing this. Why? You don't have confidence in yourself? The ice dragon asked. The ancient Qingyu city has a 500-year time array. No matter how hard I work, it's impossible for me to surpass him. As for you, you obviously have this ability but you don't make a move. I really don't know what you're trying to do. The princess dragons was dissatisfied. Lass. Earlier on the Divine Dragon Island, I've already told you that some things aren't as simple as what you see. You've seen Qin Feiyang's 2 battle souls with your own eyes. He's not an ordinary person at all. It's not that easy to kill him. The ice dragon shook his head. Not an ordinary person? Then, who exactly is he? The princess dragons was bewildered. I can't say. In any case, I definitely can't make a move. If I were to forcefully make a move, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, if you were to rely on your own abilities to kill him, no one would question you. As for the time array, do you think it's a problem for your father? The ice dragon smiled. The princess dragons was stunned. She then said in surprise, Father, you mean? The ice dragon didn't reply. He merely smiled and swept up the princess dragons before disappearing without a trace. The scene in the void dissipated as well. During this period, Qingyu had already taken out the ancient city of Qingyu and was still sitting in its original position. Although the ice dragon came and left quickly, he had already left an indelible shadow in the hearts of the blood demons. Although the crisis had been resolved, the atmosphere in the entire ancient city of Qingyu seemed a little heavy. In the palace, Qingyu asked, Brother Qin, do you think I should summon Xuede and the rest back? Summon them back for what? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Qingyu sighed. I'm worried that the dragon god will kill them. He won't. Qin Feiyang shook his head. How do you know? Qingyu was doubtful. If you were the dragon god, would you attack the blood demons? Definitely not. Because in the eyes of the dragon god, the blood demons are, at this point, Qin Feiyang didn't continue. Qingyu asked, are you trying to say that in the eyes of the dragon god, we're just a bunch of animals? This, Qin Feiyang hesitated, an apologetic look on his face. Qingyu shook his head. You don't have to avoid it. This is the truth. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed inwardly. All right. Let Xuede and the rest continue to head to Fallen Valley. At most, we'll die. Qingyu said. Qin Feiyang was silent. After a long while, he looked up at Qingyu and said, Senior Qingyu, I have a presumptuous request. Go ahead. Qingyu said. Qin Feiyang said, help me collect the blood of all the blood demons. Collect blood? Qingyu was stunned. Yes. But not too much. 1 drop per person will do. Qin Feiyang said. Why? Qingyu was doubtful. If the dragon god really massacred the blood demons, this blood will play a crucial role. I won't reveal the details first. If it really comes to that, you'll understand when the time comes. Qin Feiyang said. All right. Then I won't ask further. Qingyu nodded and asked, is it all the clansmen? Yes. Not only the clansmen of Hell, but also the clansmen of other ancient cities. Qin Feiyang nodded. This is a huge project. I'm afraid it will take at least 400 to 500 years. Qingyu said. It's okay. Anyway, I'll continue to stay in the ancient city. Qin Feiyang said. Alright, I'll make the arrangements now. You can go to the second level to cultivate first. With that, King Yu sent Qin Feiyang to the second level and then left the palace to make the arrangements. In the end, almost all the peak 9 heavens realm cultivators in the ancient city left to collect blood from the various ancient cities. Chapter 26-36. The Second Floor. As soon as he saw Qin Feiyang come in, the white-eyed wolf immediately shouted, "Little Qin Zi, I'm telling you, don't even think about it." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was a little confused. "Still playing dumb? Then tell me, why did you ask King Yu to collect the blood of the blood demon race?" The white-eyed wolf said angrily. The madman said suspiciously, "Qin Feiyang is collecting the blood, it must be to open the slaughter domain. Why are you so agitated? You don't know anything, who are you to interrupt?" "Shut up." The white-eyed wolf glared fiercely. The madman was stunned. Could it be that there was another secret behind this? Qin Feiyang also finally understood what the white-eyed wolf meant. He shook his head and said with a smile, "I'm just taking precautions. Just in case?" It seems that the lesson last time wasn't enough. If it weren't for the inner demons and Lu Jiajin sacrificing themselves in exchange for the divine pill, would you still have the chance to stand here and talk to us? Let me tell you, I won't object to anything, except for this matter. The white-eyed wolf said solemnly. I know. Unless I have no other choice, I won't open the gate of rebirth. Qin Feiyang said. Gate of rebirth? The madman was stunned. Why did it sound familiar? The white-eyed wolf shouted, "Even if you have no other choice, you are not allowed to open it, because no one will save you a second time. What about you? If I really open the gate of rebirth again, will you sacrifice yourself to save me?" Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. Am I very close to you? Dream on. The white-eyed wolf snorted coldly. Qin Feiyang smiled. This was a typical example of a sharp tongue but a soft heart. If such a thing really happened, the white-eyed wolf would definitely sacrifice himself to save him without hesitation. However, even if the white-eyed wolf really did that, he would not allow it. Because he didn't want to experience the pain of losing a loved one again. He would rather die than let the people around him die for him. All right. I promise not to open the gate of rebirth. Qin Feiyang smiled. Really? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The white-eyed wolf said, Then tell the Ghost King to stop collecting blood right now. Is it necessary to be like this? Qin Feiyang was speechless. Nonsense. Only by doing this can I sever your thoughts. The white-eyed wolf said. All right. There are benefits to keeping this blood. If I ever run into a crisis in the future, I can use it to deal with the emergency and activate the slaughter domain. Qin Feiyang smiled. Do you think I'm stupid? The blood of the blood demons contains evil power. Can you absorb it? The white-eyed wolf sneered. It's not that I think you're stupid, but you're really stupid. Evil power can be refined too. Besides, the one who is really absorbing the blood is the blood-colored longsword, not me. Qin Feiyang was speechless. The white-eyed wolf was slightly stunned and scratched his head. That seemed to be the case. Think about it, there are so many blood demons, and their cultivation isn't weak. If each of them gets one drop, it's definitely enough for me to activate the second stage. It's such a big bargain, it's a waste not to take it, right? Qin Feiyang smiled. I can't be bothered with you. The white-eyed wolf glared at Qin Feiyang and ran to the corner in a fit of anger. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. Madman glanced at the white-eyed wolf and then looked at Qin Feiyang. The gate of rebirth you guys are talking about, is it the fourth style of the dragon god technique? You know about it too? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Just now, I thought about it carefully. I once heard your ancestor mention it, but I don't know the details. Madman said. This matter, go ask the white-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang smiled and sat cross-legged, taking out a soul stone to cultivate. Madman glanced at Qin Feiyang and ran to the white-eyed wolf's side, saying, Brother Wolf, tell me. He doesn't even care, what is there for me to say? If I say too much, he will think that I am meddling in other people's business. The white-eyed wolf snorted. Yes, yes, yes. You must have good intentions. But it's not like you don't know Qin Feiyang, he has a sense of propriety. Madman said. His sense of propriety? Do you know why Lu Jiajin and the inner demons would risk their lives to save him? It's because he activated the gate of rebirth. The white-eyed wolf said. Tell me. Madman squatted at the side, his face full of curiosity. It's like this, the white-eyed wolf sighed and told the whole thing from beginning to end. So that's how it is. Madman finally understood. No wonder the white-eyed wolf was so angry. It turned out that opening the gate of rebirth was such a big risk. The white-eyed wolf said, Now you tell me, how can I not be angry? You should be angry, you should be angry. But have you ever thought about why so many people, so many beasts, would follow Qin Feiyang so loyally? Isn't it because he values friendship and loyalty? Is he someone worth following and serving? There are two sides to everything. We can't just look at one side. Of course, I can understand your feelings. You don't want to lose him. But sometimes, we have to make a choice, even if we know that we will die. Madman persuaded. Are you kidding me? I told you so much because I want you to persuade him, not because I want you to persuade me. What's the situation? The white-eyed wolf stared at him angrily. I don't like what you said. I'm just stating facts. Of course. When the time comes, I will persuade him. Madman said. When the time comes, it will be too late. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. Enough. Instead of thinking so much, it's better to cultivate. When your cultivation is strong enough, you can directly kill the ice dragon and everything will be fine. Madman patted the white-eyed wolf's head and said. Take your dog's paw away. The white-eyed wolf slapped Madman's hand away, but in his heart, he agreed with Madman's words. Right. As long as he killed the ice dragon, everything he was worried about would not happen. That's right. Cultivate quickly. Cultivate immediately. Madman also sat on the ground and took out soul stones, preparing to cultivate. Qin Feiyang suddenly opened his eyes and asked, Senior brother Madman, after breaking through to the 9 heavens realm, how many soul stones do I need to refine for each realm? Madman was startled and asked, You didn't ask before? Qin Feiyang said, Before, there was Hua Yi and the others. Do I need to ask? Madman shook his head and said, After breaking through to the 9 heavens realm, the number of soul stones needed to refine has doubled. Half-step 9 heavens realm to initial 9 heavens realm requires 100 billion. Initial 9 heavens stage and initial 9 heavens stage require 200 billion. Initial 9 heavens realm to great 9 heavens realm requires 400 billion. Great 9 heavens realm to great 9 heavens realm requires 800 billion. Perfection 9 heavens realm to great 9 heavens realm requires 1.6 billion. As for great 9 heavens realm to half-step imperishable realm, according to the old man, if you use soul stones, it will require at least 10 trillion. Madman said. The old man Madman mentioned was naturally the Grand Elder of 9 Heavens Palace. What? Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. 100 billion? 200 billion? 400 billion? 800 billion? 1.6 billion? Compared to the Paragon God realm, this was a huge change. Because the Paragon God realm required 20 billion, 40 billion, 60 billion. In other words, it was only 20 billion. And now, it was one round after another. The Nine Heavens realm was okay, it required the most perfection Nine Heavens realm, which was 1.6 billion. But breaking through to half-step imperishable realm required at least 10 trillion? How long would it take? No wonder there were so many people in this world who were stuck at the perfection Nine Heavens realm. Even if there were enough soul stones, it would take an extremely long time to refine them. Don't worry about the future, take the chance now and break through to the perfection Nine Heavens realm. Madman said. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. A time array that took 500 years in a day was a rare opportunity. Soon. A day passed on the second level. Qin Feiyang calculated carefully that he could now refine 3,000 soul stones a day, which was a lot better than before. To refine 3,000 soul stones a day, it would take at least 90,000 years to refine 100 billion soul stones. If he calculated according to the time rules of the second level, 500 years in a day, 10 days, 5,000 years, 100 days, 50,000 years, then wouldn't 200 days be 100,000 years? In other words, on the second level, he only needed less than 200 days to break through to the initial Nine Heavens realm? It would only take a little more than half a year. This was not right. Why was it even faster than the last time in Mysterious Heaven Ancient City? Last time in Mysterious Heaven Ancient City, it took him a year to break through from great perfection to perfection. Look at my brain. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang slapped his head hard. The time array in Mysterious Heaven Ancient City was 200 years in a day, but the time array here was 500 years in a day. Naturally, they were not on the same level. Awesome! Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. He immediately took out a large number of soul stones and began to refine them crazily. Frenzy and Qin Feiyang's situation was similar, but the white-eyed wolf was definitely one step faster than them. After all, before entering hell, the white-eyed wolf had already broken through to the half-step Nine Heavens realm. Moreover, before Qin Feiyang came to Qingyu Ancient City, the white-eyed wolf had already been cultivating here for more than a year. Although he only absorbed the evil force, his cultivation had also improved a lot. Qin Feiyang, Frenzy, and the white-eyed wolf were cultivating desperately on the second level. Outside, the blood demon race had also slowly calmed down, but the shadow left behind by the dragon god was definitely hard to erase. Have you guys heard? Qin Feiyang actually got together with the blood demon race. What? Who said that? It seems that someone lurked near Mysterious Heaven Ancient City and saw it with his own eyes. Impossible. Who doesn't know that the blood demon race is crazily chasing after us humans? Qin Feiyang is also a human, how could he get together with the blood demon race? It's definitely a rumor. I hope it's a rumor. Otherwise, wouldn't Qin Feiyang be lawless with the support of the blood demon race? Yeah. He has always been a ruthless person. If the blood demon race helps him, I'm afraid none of us will be able to leave hell alive. In a certain mountain range, thousands of people were gathered together. They were recuperating and discussing at the same time. There were men and women, old and young. Their cultivation was also different. Divine Lord, Paragon God, Nine Heavens Realm. But without exception, when they heard the name Qin Feiyang, their faces changed. Chapter 2637. So there are so many people hiding here. Suddenly, a snicker sounded. Thousands of people were shocked and looked over. They saw a black-clothed youth walk out of the forest. The black-clothed youth had his hands behind his back. His long hair looked like it had been soaked in blood. His eyes were blood-red and he gave off a terrifying aura. The youth's cultivation wasn't high. He was only a half-step god lord, but he gave off a great sense of threat. It was like he was a devil. "Who are you?" A black-haired elder walked out of the thousands of people and frowned as he stared at the black-clothed youth. This person's cultivation was at the perfection nine heavens realm. He was the strongest person here. The black-clothed youth said with a snicker, "It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that all of you have to die now. All of you have to die." Everyone was shocked. "Kid, are you talking in your sleep? Why don't you look at your cultivation? Any one of us can kill you." A big man sneered. He was at the greater success nine heavens realm and had the right to say that. "If it was before, I wouldn't have dared to come out. But now, I'm no longer that despairing youth from the Cloud Mountain village. Hee, Xueling, kill them all." The black-clothed youth snickered. Boom! Immediately, a terrifying aura charged out of the black-clothed youth. Then, a blood-red shadow shot out of the black-clothed youth's body and entered the forehead of the big man like a bolt of lightning. Ah! With a scream, the big man died on the spot. What? Everyone was shocked. Die, die. The blood-red shadow suddenly let out a sinister laugh. Then, it once again entered the black-haired old man's forehead. The black-haired elder screamed and died on the spot. How is this possible? What the hell is that? It can even kill a greater success nine heavens realm and perfection nine heavens realm? No. Look. Their divine souls have disappeared. Their divine souls have disappeared? Yes. They didn't shatter, they disappeared. It seems like they were swallowed by it. A middle-aged man at the initial success nine heavens realm stared at Xueling in shock. Devouring divine souls? What kind of monster was this? Run! No one knew who it was that let out a terrified roar. Immediately, the thousands of people began to flee in panic. I like the taste of divine souls. Sanguis grinned hideously. Like a ghost, he entered the glabella of the group of people. Ah! Screams rang out incessantly. Everyone who fell to the ground had a thumb-sized hole between their eyebrows. Blood flowed out, and their faces were filled with the fear of death. Their divine souls were also devoured by Xueling. When the black-clothed young man saw this scene, not only did he not have the slightest bit of sympathy, but his eyes were filled with a bloodthirsty light. He seemed to be enjoying himself. "Don't kill us. Spare me." At this moment, this place was filled with wails of agony and rivers of blood. In less than 100 breaths, thousands of people had lost their lives. The scene was like hell. Sanguis returned to the black-clothed youth's side and said with a cruel smile, "Kid, hurry up and absorb their flesh and cultivation. After that, we will go to the mysterious heavenly city." "Why are we going to the mysterious ancient city?" The black-clothed youth frowned. "Didn't you hear them say that Qin Feiyang is in the mysterious heavenly city? Don't you want to see him?" Sanguis said. "Qin Dage," the black-clothed youth murmured. However, he suddenly frowned and looked at Sanguis. "That's not right. You should be going for the Blood Demon tribe." You are getting smarter." "That's right. The Blood Demon tribe, whether it is their flesh, blood, or divine souls, all contain evil energy. They are very helpful to our cultivation. As long as you can devour their cultivation and flesh, I can guarantee that you will definitely step into the ninth heaven realm before returning to the divine land." Sanguis said. "Shut up. You can touch anyone, but you cannot touch the blood demon race. Because they are friends with Qin Dage." The black-clothed youth shouted. "You are so indecisive. With such a character, even if I give you the supreme demonic book, you won't be able to achieve anything." Sanguis said angrily. "I have indeed cultivated the demonic book, but I have not lost my humanity. Qin Dage is my benefactor. I will not touch anyone related to Qin Dage. You better not touch them too. Otherwise, don't blame me for falling out with you. The black-clothed youth said in a deep voice. I really have to hand it to you. Fine, I won't touch the blood demon tribe, but it should be fine to kill the beasts here. These ferocious beasts also contain evil energy in their bodies. They are a great supplement for us. Sanguis said helplessly. Beasts as you wish. After the black-clothed youth said that, a bloody aura suddenly emerged from his body and shrouded the surroundings. In just a few breaths, the corpses on the ground turned into white bones. Boom! The black-clothed youth's cultivation instantly stepped into the initial Divine Lord realm. Good, good, good. He has broken through to the initial Divine Lord realm. This speed is faster than I thought. Let's continue. In the Divine Land, we do not dare to kill wantonly because it will cause a commotion. However, in the Nether King's hell, no one will care about us. To you, this place is an inexhaustible treasure. Sanguis laughed maniacally and then disappeared into the black-clothed youth's body. The black-clothed youth smirked and disappeared into the forest ahead. Half a year later. Ancient city of the Nether King. A blood-eyed giant at the Great Perfection Ninth Heaven realm flew to the palace where the Nether King was and said respectfully, Shuigang from the Luotian ancient city wishes to see the Nether King. The Nether King waved his hand and the door opened. Come in. Shuigang walked into the palace and knelt on one knee. Greetings, Nether King. The Nether King asked, why did you come all the way here? Nether King. Something bad has happened in the vicinity of All Heaven Ancient City recently, said the old man. Shuigang said. What bad thing? The Nether King was suspicious. Shuigang said, the beasts were massacred. The Nether King was stunned. Now that humans and dragons have entered the Nether King's hell, it's normal for the beasts to be massacred. If it was just a massacre, we wouldn't be suspicious. However, the strange thing is that the souls and flesh of these beasts have all disappeared. Shuigang said. Disappeared? The Nether King was slightly taken aback. Yes. All that's left are bones. There's no flesh at all. It's as if they were swallowed by something. Shuigang said in a low voice. This, the Nether King frowned. It did sound a little strange. When our city lord found out about this, he immediately asked us to investigate. In the end, we met a human. And this human was devouring the beast's flesh and blood at that time. Shuigang said. What human? The Nether King was surprised. Shuigang waved his hand and a phantom appeared. The Nether King sized up the phantom and frowned. Did you catch him? No. Although this human's cultivation is only at the initial Divine Lord realm, there's a blood shadow hidden in his body. This blood shadow's cultivation is very strong. Even I couldn't stop him and let him escape. Shuigang said. This is strange. The beasts of our Nether King's hell have evil power in their bodies. How can he absorb the beast's flesh and blood? The Nether King frowned. Shuigang said, therefore, we suspect that he can absorb the evil power. Absorb the evil power. The Nether King was shocked. The figures of the frenzy and the white-eyed wolf involuntarily appeared in his mind. However, the phantom in front of him was obviously not the frenzy and the white-eyed wolf. This was because the frenzy and the white-eyed wolf were currently cultivating in seclusion on the second level. Absorbing the evil power is not a small matter. Therefore, the city lord asked me to report to you. At the same time, ask if you can send the 10 great commanders to All Heaven Ancient City to capture this person. Shuigang said. The Nether King shook his head and said, the 10 great commanders have all gone to Fallen Valley. Gone to Fallen Valley? Shuigang was slightly stunned and frowned. Then what should we do? Don't be anxious. The Nether King pondered for a while and waved his hand. A figure appeared out of thin air in the main hall. It was Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang was still a little dumbfounded when he was suddenly brought to the first level. The Nether King pointed at the phantom and asked, "Brother Qin, do you know this person?" There was a trace of suspicion on Qin Feiyang's face. When he looked in the direction the Nether King was pointing at, his expression immediately stiffened. Looking at Qin Feiyang's reaction, the Nether King and Shui Gang exchanged glances. They already had an answer in their hearts. They definitely knew him. Qin Feiyang looked at the phantom and nodded. "I know him." "Then who is he?" Shui Gang asked. Qin Feiyang was taken aback. He looked at Shui Gang suspiciously and asked, "You are?" "He is from All Heaven Ancient City. His name is Shui Gang." The Nether King introduced him. He then looked at Shui Gang and said, "Tell Brother Qin the situation in detail." "Yes." Shui Gang nodded. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "During this period of time, this person has been wantonly slaughtering the beasts in our All Heaven Ancient City." A moment later, Shui Gang finally finished. Qin Feiyang also frowned. The Nether King asked suspiciously, "Brother Qin, who exactly is he? Why can he also absorb the power of evil?" "He is a child I met in the Divine Land. His name is Li Feng. I remember when I first met him, he was just a beginner god of war. However, I didn't expect him to break through to become a beginner god so quickly. I think this should have something to do with him devouring the flesh and blood of living creatures." Qin Feiyang sighed. Back then, he was worried that Li Feng, who was drowned in hatred, might take an extreme path. He didn't expect his worries to come true. "Then what is your relationship with him?" the Nether King asked. "Although I helped him out of sympathy, I already treat him as a younger brother in my heart. At that time, I wanted him to stay by my side, but he left without a word. The last time I saw him was before I entered the Nether King's hell. And he was the first person to enter the Nether King's hell. As for why he can absorb the power of evil, I really don't know." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Originally, he was quite worried about Li Feng's situation. Alone in the Nether King's hell, he had no backing and his cultivation was weak. However, who would have thought that the Nether King's hell would become Li Feng's hunting ground? Chapter 2638. King Yu and Shui Gang looked at each other. It seemed that their relationship wasn't bad. Qin Feiyang looked at Shui Gang and asked, "Did he harm your people?" "No. Every time he sees the blood demon race, he will immediately flee," Shui Gang said. "That's good." Qin Feiyang heaved a sigh of relief. If Li Feng had also massacred the blood demon race, this matter would be difficult to handle. After all, his relationship with the blood demon race was obvious. "Brother Qin, since you know him, why don't you make a trip to Luotian Ancient City with me? Although he hasn't attacked the blood demon race now, there's no guarantee that he won't do so in the future. If we don't figure out his position, we won't be at ease." Shui Gang looked at Qin Feiyang with a pleading look. Qin Feiyang remained silent. Shui Gang looked at King Yu. "Brother Qin, Luotian Ancient City isn't far from King Yu Ancient City. It will take at most a month's journey. If you have time, you can go and take a look," King Yu said. "Actually, there's no need for me to make this trip." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "What do you mean?" King Yu and Shui Gang looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang looked at Shui Gang and said, "Go back now. When you find him, tell him that I'm waiting for him in King Yu Ancient City." "Will he come?" Shui Gang was slightly stunned and asked. "He will definitely come." Qin Feiyang smiled. "All right." Shui Gang nodded and looked at King Yu. He bowed and said, "Lord, I'll go back first." Go ahead. King Yu waved his hand. After Shuigang left, Qin Feiyang looked at King Yu and apologized, I'm sorry to have caused you trouble. It's nothing to kill some beasts. However, it's definitely not appropriate to kill them wantonly. My blood demon race can't sit back and do nothing. After all, the blood demon race is the ruler of hell. These beasts are considered my subjects. I hope you can understand. King Yu said. I can understand. I will make him stop killing. Qin Feiyang nodded. The Ghost King smiled. This little fellow was different from other humans. She was considerate and reasonable. Returning to the second floor, Qin Feiyang continued to cultivate. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Boom! Qin Feiyang and Madman stepped into the initial stage of the Nine Heavens realm. As for the white-eyed wolf, he had already broken through to the initial Nine Heavens stage before Shuigang arrived. Little Qin Zi, do you think there are any changes to the time laws in the castle and the Black Tortoise world? There's also the pill scripture. What pill recipes are on the next page? The white-eyed wolf opened his eyes and asked Qin Feiyang. I don't know. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Even though the seal of the ancient castle would be unlocked once he broke through to the Nine Heavens realm, he was still unable to enter the ancient castle. Therefore, there was no way to know what would happen inside. Wait. When the two fighting souls destroyed the power of the rules, did you feel any change in the rules? For example, the restriction on you disappearing? Madman asked. I didn't feel it. Qin Feiyang shook his head. It seems like even if we can block the power of the rules, we won't be able to remove the restriction on us. Madman shook his head regretfully. I think only the ice dragon can break the restriction of the rules. Qin Feiyang said. This beast, I will skin it alive sooner or later. The white-eyed wolf snorted. Skin it alive? That won't be an easy task. Madman shook his head and smiled. I will be able to do it one day. The white-eyed wolf said. All right. We will follow you then. Madman smiled. Qin Feiyang said, all right, let's not talk about these useless things. Let's continue with our cultivation. The white-eyed wolf asked, are you really not going to take a look at Li Feng? He will come to the ancient king's city. We will just wait for him here. Qin Feiyang then closed his eyes and continued to refine the soul stone. One day later. He calculated that to break through to the initial Nine Heaven realm, he would need to refine around 3,300 soul stones in a day. To break through to the initial Nine Heaven realm, he would need to refine 200 billion soul stones. After careful calculation, it would take more than 166,000 years. 166,000 soul stones. That was too terrifying. To Qin Feiyang, that was an astronomical figure. Fortunately, he was in the ancient king's city and there was a 500-year time array. 500 years in a day, 5,000 years in 10 days, 50,000 years in 100 days, 300 days would be 150,000 years. 160,000 soul stones would be more than 6,000 soul stones, which was a matter of 300 days. To others, the greatest temptation of the Nether King's hell was the various heaven-defying treasures. But to Qin Feiyang, Madman, and the white-eyed wolf, the time array was the most tempting thing. If there were no accidents, they would stay here and cultivate until the Nether King's hell closed. Another month passed by. So, Shuigang came to the ancient king's city again. The Nether King immediately called Qin Feiyang out from the second floor. Where is Li Feng? Qin Feiyang looked outside and looked at Shuigang suspiciously. He didn't come. Shuigang shook his head. He didn't come. Qin Feiyang was stunned. It was too unexpected. Yes. I found him and told him exactly what you said. But he said that he didn't want to see you. He also asked me to tell you not to interfere in his matters in the future. He even warned us that if we dared to look for him again, he wouldn't be polite to the blood demon race. Shuigang was helpless. Presumptuous. I didn't give the order to kill him because of Brother Qin. He actually dares to threaten us? The Nether King was furious. Sigh. Shuigang sighed and didn't say anything else. Qin Feiyang looked at the Nether King and then asked Shuigang, "Where is Li Feng now?" "I don't know. Ever since I saw him that time, he never appeared in the vicinity of Luotian ancient city." Shuigang shook his head. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but frown. Had Li Feng really become a demon? I guess he won't continue to stay in the vicinity of Luotian ancient city. After all, he might be afraid that you'll look for him personally. The Nether King said. Qin Feiyang looked at Shuigang and asked, "When was the last time you saw him?" Shuigang said, "The first day I came to the Nether King ancient city. It took me 33 days to get there, which is 34 days ago." Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, "Then I'll accompany you to Luotian ancient city." "He has already left. What's the use of going there now?" Shuigang was doubtful. He shouldn't have gone far in 34 days. Along the way, he might continue to hunt beasts. We can slowly find him through these traces. Qin Feiyang said. "All right then." Shuigang nodded. Qin Feiyang looked at the Nether King and said, "Senior Nether King, I'll have to trouble you to take care of Frenzy and the White-Eyed Wolf." "Don't worry." The Nether King smiled. Qin Feiyang nodded and looked at Shuigang. "Let's go." Shuigang immediately swept Qin Feiyang up and turned around to leave the palace. Just as they left the palace, Qin Feiyang suddenly thought of something and asked, "Shuigang, do you have a supreme-grade auxiliary divine art?" "Yes." Shuigang nodded. "Then you can use an auxiliary divine art to travel. This will save you a lot of time." Qin Feiyang said. "Okay." After Shuigang finished speaking, he took Qin Feiyang with him. With a mysterious step, they disappeared from the city like lightning. Divine arts were divided into low-grade, mid-grade, high-grade, perfect, pinnacle, teleportation, and supreme grade. In other words, a supreme-grade auxiliary divine art could increase a person's speed by 7 times. It took Shuigang 33 days to get to the Nether King ancient city. It would take less than 5 days to return now. After traveling without stopping, the two finally arrived outside Luotian ancient city on the evening of the 4th day. The Luotian ancient city was about the same size as the mysterious Sky ancient city. There were also tens of thousands of blood demons in the city. Most of them were below the peak 9 heavens realm. "You're Qin Feiyang?" A skinny giant that was 50 meters tall flew out of the city and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. He asked with a smile. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, "Yes, I am." "May I ask who you are?" The giant said, "I'm the city lord of Luotian ancient city." Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "So it's senior city lord. Nice to meet you. I've heard of Brother Qin's name a long time ago. Not only did you help take back the mysterious Sky ancient city, but you also killed the princess of the dragons in the giant Dragon Mountain range." The city lord of Luotian city smiled. "You're welcome. I'm just an outsider. It's all thanks to the protection of the blood demon tribe that I'm where I am today." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. "City lord, Brother Qin, can you not be so polite? It looks weird." Shuigang was speechless. "Huh," the city lord of Luotian city laughed and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Shuigang is right. Since you're a friend of the blood demon tribe, there's no need for us to be so polite." Qin Feiyang smiled. The city lord of Luotian city retreated to the side and said with a smile, "Let's talk inside the city." Qin Feiyang glanced at Luo Tian ancient city and said, Senior City Lord, Shuigang has already told me everything on the way. There's no time to lose. I want to start looking for Li Feng's traces now. The city lord of Luo Tian city was stunned and smiled. Brother Qin is really a swift and decisive person. Alright, Shuigang, from now on, follow Brother Qin closely. Assist him and protect him. Yes. Shuigang nodded. King Yu had already ordered that Qin Feiyang was a member of the Blood Demon tribe, so he definitely couldn't let anything happen to him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to answer to King Yu. Qin Feiyang looked at Shuigang and said, Take me to the place where you met last time. Alright. Shuigang nodded and brought Qin Feiyang with him as they flew northwest outside the city. Straightforward and direct, humble and polite to others. Not bad. Really not bad. King Yu didn't make a mistake. The city lord of Luo Tian city looked at Qin Feiyang's back and nodded with a smile. About 4 hours passed. The sky had already turned completely dark. The evil moon emitted a hazy blood-red light, covering the entire world with a layer of blood-red veil. Under Shuigang's lead, Qin Feiyang landed in a desolate forest. However, the desolate forest was in ruins and full of devastation. There were also the bones of ferocious beasts everywhere. Some of the bones were bigger than mountains. Under the illumination of the evil moon, they looked a little eerie and bone-chilling. Look, this is Li Feng's masterpiece. Shuigang pointed at the bones with a gloomy expression. Chapter 2639. Qin Feiyang frowned. There were at least 200 to 300 white bones on the ground. There is something else that is even more unbelievable. You should still remember that when I first came to the ancient city of King Yu, I said that Li Feng's cultivation level was at the initial stage of the Divine Lord realm. However, when I returned from the ancient city of King Yu and saw him again, he had already broken through to the initial stage of the Divine Lord realm. Shuigang said in a low voice. He broke through so quickly. Are you sure you did not see wrongly? Qin Feiyang was shocked. I am at the perfected 9 heavens realm. How can I be wrong about his cultivation level? Shuigang said. This is indeed unbelievable. Qin Feiyang nodded. Could it be that the change in Li Feng's cultivation level was related to the absorption of the flesh and blood of these beasts? Absorbing the flesh and blood of living creatures to strengthen himself? I am worried that if we allow him to continue his unscrupulous massacre, the beasts of hell will become extinct. Shuigang was worried. I will not give him this chance. Qin Feiyang waved his hands. Just as King Yu said, he did not issue a kill order for Li Feng on account of Shuigang. Therefore, he had to stop Li Feng. He could not let Li Feng become the enemy of the Blood Demon tribe. The Blood Demon tribe was very powerful. If Li Feng really angered King Yu, then only death would await him when the time came. Shush! Suddenly, 3,000 clones appeared. Oh! Shuigang was shocked. Qin Feiyang looked at the 3,000 clones and said, Split up and look for traces left behind by Li Feng. No problem. The 3,000 clones smiled and immediately dispersed, disappearing in all directions. Brother Qin, they are? Shuigang was bewildered. Why did these clones seem to have self-consciousness? They are not clones. They are formed by one of my divine arts. Qin Feiyang smiled. Formed by a divine art? Shuigang was stunned. Even if they were formed by a divine art, they should not have self-consciousness. Qin Feiyang did not explain further. He said, Let's look around. Okay. Shuigang nodded. An hour later. Within the radius of tens of millions of miles, Qin Feiyang and Ji Hao had searched everywhere, but they didn't find a single skeleton. He didn't slaughter anyone else? Doesn't that mean we won't be able to track them? Shuigang frowned. There's no rush. Let's wait for news from the 3,000 incarnations. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Whoosh! An unknown amount of time passed. Suddenly, accompanied by the sound of something breaking through the air, a clone flew over at lightning speed. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, I found something. Follow me. Go. Qin Feiyang immediately called out to Shuigang, and his avatar quickly disappeared into the night sky. Late at night, the entire mountain fell into a dead silence. Even the roars of ferocious beasts were hard to hear. Above a plain, 3 figures broke through the air and landed in the center of the plain. They were Qin Feiyang and the other 2. The plains were overgrown with shrubs. More than a dozen skeletons were lying beside one of the shrubs. Furthermore, these bones belonged to humans. They look very similar to those ferocious beasts. Could it be Li Feng's doing? Shuigang was surprised. Qin Feiyang's brows furrowed even tighter. Not only did he slaughter ferocious beasts, but he also slaughtered humans? From the bottom of his heart, he didn't want to believe that this was Li Feng's doing. But besides Li Feng, who else could it be? Whoosh! Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and dispersed his 3,000 incarnations. Then, he released his divine sense, which spread out in all directions. Soon, he found a large number of skeletons in the southwest direction. Let's go. Qin Feiyang brought Shuigang out of the plain and into the mountains. Not long after, white skeletons came into sight. There were those of ferocious beasts and humans. They were all over the place. Looking around, he couldn't sense any living creatures. Shuigang said angrily, without a doubt, this must be Li Feng's doing. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked in the southwest direction, saying, he went in this direction. How do you know? Shuigang was puzzled. Qin Feiyang said, it's easy to judge because I didn't find any skeletons in other directions. Yes. Let's follow these skeletons and search. We will definitely find him. However, why didn't we find any skeletons in the previous area? After Shuigang finished speaking, he looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. This Li Feng is smart. He was afraid that someone would track him, so he didn't slaughter the ferocious beasts in that area. After all, once he slaughtered them, it would be easier to track him down. Qin Feiyang said. Shuigang said, but he was still a little careless and didn't know to destroy these skeletons. Is there any use in destroying them? Look, along the way, there are traces of battle everywhere. Even if he destroyed these skeletons, he couldn't completely erase the traces. Moreover, I'm guessing that he didn't expect us to persevere and search so far. Let's go. Track him down as fast as possible. Qin Feiyang said. Okay. Shuigang swept Qin Feiyang up and activated the supreme-level auxiliary divine technique once more. They rushed toward the southwest. Along the way, they encountered too many skeletons. Even Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel his scalp go numb. On the second day, they even encountered a few thousand skeletons. Without exception, all of them were flesh and blood. On the 5th day, Qin Feiyang and Shuigang discovered a few hundred more skeletons. Who is it? However, just as the 2 of them were about to leave, Qin Feiyang suddenly stopped and looked at a mountain peak not far away. Someone is there? Shuigang looked over in surprise. I saw a black shadow just now. Qin Feiyang nodded. Could it be Li Feng? Shuigang immediately took Qin Feiyang and rushed over there. Qin Feiyang also released his divine sense and rushed over. Soon, in a forest, he saw a large black-robed man madly fleeing. He had a half-step divine lord cultivation. Whoosh! About 10 breaths later, Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang stood in front of the black-robed man. When the black-robed man saw this, he immediately knelt on the ground and begged, "Qin Feiyang, I beg you, please don't kill me, am I that scary?" Qin Feiyang was speechless. As soon as the black-robed man saw him, he ran for his life. "I'm just a nobody. I'm worthless. It's meaningless for you to kill me," the black-robed man lowered his head and begged. "Shut up. If you dare say another word, I'll really kill you." Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. The black-robed man trembled and immediately fell silent. "Let me ask you. What's with those white bones?" Qin Feiyang asked. When the black-robed man heard the mention of white bones, he immediately trembled again. His face turned pale as though he had seen a devil. "Speak!" Qin Feiyang shouted. The black-robed man hurriedly said, "A young man did it." "A young man?" Qin Feiyang frowned. With a wave of his hand, divine power appeared and condensed into Li Feng's figure. "Is it him?" The black-robed man looked up and shouted in horror, "Yes, it's him, it's him, it's him. It's really Li Feng." Shui Gang snorted coldly. Qin Feiyang looked at the black-robed man and asked, "When did this happen?" "Just last night. He suddenly appeared here and killed all of us. What's more terrifying is that he has something called a blood spirit with him. This blood spirit is extremely ferocious. Every time it kills someone, it will devour their divine soul. And those people's flesh and blood were all devoured by Li Feng." The black-robed man said in horror. "Blood spirit? Devour divine souls?" Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang looked at each other, their eyes filled with horror. "Brother Qin, swallowing a divine soul is an utterly devoid of conscience. The most important thing is, why did this blood spirit devour everyone's divine souls? Could it be that divine souls can make them stronger?" Shui Gang said. Qin Feiyang looked at Shui Gang, then looked at the black-robed man and said, "How did you escape?" "At that time, I just came back from outside. When I saw Li Feng slaughtering everyone, I immediately hid and was lucky to escape," the black-robed man said. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "Then why haven't you left yet?" "I don't dare. This Nether King's hell is too dangerous. I don't dare to run around alone. So I planned to stay here and see if I could meet someone else, then we could leave together. But I didn't expect that the person I waited for would be you. Qin Feiyang, can you let me go? I'm really just a nobody. I don't want to die. I want to return to the divine land alive and reunite with my family. I really regret coming to the Nether King's hell." The black-robed man cried with snot and tears, his face full of regret. Qin Feiyang said, "If you want to return to the divine land alive, then go to the mythical square." "The mythical square?" The black-robed man was stunned. Qin Feiyang said, "The passage out of the Nether King's hell is at the mythical square." "Thank you for telling me. Thank you for telling me." The black-robed man was grateful. Qin Feiyang asked, "Then where did Li Feng go after slaughtering everyone last night?" "Southwest." The black-robed man said. "Let's go." Qin Feiyang looked at Shui Gang and said. "Okay." Shui Gang nodded and led Qin Feiyang back the way they came. After the two left, the black-robed man slowly got up. The fear from before had disappeared, and there was a glimmer of light in his eyes. The mythical square, after muttering, the black-robed man flew in the opposite direction. Back to Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang. Soon, they returned to the sky where the bones were. Qin Feiyang looked down at the bones, then retracted his gaze and looked to the southwest. Shui Gang did not stop. He swept across the sky and went straight to the southwest. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang frowned and shouted, "Shui Gang, wait." Shui Gang was stunned and quickly stopped in the air. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked, "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang did not answer. He lowered his head and looked at the bones again. The surprise in his eyes was even stronger. Following that, he silently landed in front of the bones and carefully examined them. Then, he looked at the traces of battle on the ground. Shuigang was puzzled at first, but when he followed Qin Feiyang to the bones, he quickly saw the clues. There was not even a speck of dust on these bones. This was obviously unreasonable. If these people were really killed last night, then after this night, there should be some dust on the bones. After all, there was a battle here. Moreover, the traces of battle on the ground were also brand new. The traces of battle, even if only one night had passed, would have obvious changes. For example, soil and water. And the traces of battle here seem to have just happened. Chapter 2640. Go back. Qin Feiyang shouted. Shuigang was also a smart person. When he noticed these abnormalities, he realized that he had been fooled by the black-clothed man. Whoosh! At that moment, he used the supreme-level auxiliary technique and brought Qin Feiyang to the sky above the forest. No one. He must have left. Shuigang lowered his head and scanned the forest. He can't run away in such a short time. Use your divine sense to search. Qin Feiyang said. Shuigang nodded and his divine sense rolled out. The divine sense of a perfection ninth heaven realm could cover hundreds of millions of miles. At the same time, in the sky above a mountain in the distance, the black-clothed man was flying while scanning below as if looking for prey. Qin Feiyang is just so. He was so easily fooled by us. Suddenly, a bloody shadow appeared from the black-clothed man's body, his words full of disdain. Shut up. Don't slander Qin Dage. The black-clothed man's eyes turned cold as he turned to look at the bloody shadow and shouted. He has already come to kill you personally. Why are you still so protective of him? Kid, is there something wrong with your head? The bloody shadow said angrily. Kill me, the black-clothed man murmured and shook his head. I don't believe that he is here to kill me. Kid, don't be stupid. In your heart, you treat him as a big brother, but in his heart, you are just a pitiful worm. The bloody shadow sneered. Whatever you say, I don't believe it. The black-clothed man shook his head. Idiot. The bloody shadow snorted. Boom. It was also at this moment. A terrifying divine sense surged over. The black-clothed man and the bloody shadow were shocked. Not good, run. The bloody shadow immediately rushed into the black-clothed man's body. The black-clothed man also immediately fled frantically. Stop right now. But at the same time, an angry roar rolled over. The black-clothed man's body trembled and involuntarily stopped. Why did you stop? Waiting for death? You think he'll let you go? Blood Shadow's roar immediately rang out in the black-clothed man's mind. Following closely, the black-clothed man lost control of his body and fled at high speed. Furthermore, his speed had increased by countless times. Don't control my body. The black-clothed man shouted angrily. With your speed, do you think you can escape? Blood Shadow remained indifferent and continued to control the black-clothed man's body to flee. Whoosh! Very soon, the two auras quickly approached. The masters of these two auras were Qin Feiyang and Shuigang. His speed can actually reach the great circle of the nine heavens realm. There is indeed something wrong with him, Shuigang said solemnly. Qin Feiyang looked at the back of the man in black. His eyes flickered as he asked, "Can you catch up with him?" "Of course." Shuigang nodded confidently. Using his supreme-grade auxiliary divine art, he continued to close the distance between him and the black-clothed man. Jie, but at this moment, the black-clothed man also took a mysterious step. His speed suddenly increased, and he was actually not any slower than Shuigang. What? He also mastered a supreme-grade auxiliary divine art? Shuigang was shocked. Qin Feiyang's eyes also sank slightly. Looking at the black-clothed man, he shouted, "I told you to stop. Didn't you hear me? You want me to stop and I will stop? Who do you think you are?" A sinister laugh sounded. "This is Blood Spirit's voice," Shuigang exclaimed. "Blood Spirit?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. Looking at Shuigang, he asked, "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. The last time I found them, I even exchanged a few moves with Blood Spirit." Shuigang nodded. "In that case, it is Blood Spirit who is controlling his body. It seems that it is indeed as I thought. He is Li Feng." Qin Feiyang looked at the black-clothed man's back again. There was a trace of anger in his eyes. "He is Li Feng?" Shuigang was stunned for a moment before he angrily said, "Li Feng, didn't you see that Qin Feiyang personally came to find you? Why are you still running?" However, Li Feng didn't stop. Because right now, his body was completely out of his control. Moreover, the current him didn't seem to want to face Qin Feiyang. Perhaps because of the massacre of beasts and humans, he felt that he didn't have the face to face Qin Feiyang anymore. In short, now that he saw Qin Feiyang, he couldn't help but feel guilty. The two sides, one in front and one behind, continued to chase. Unknowingly, night fell. When night falls, let's see how you can escape. Shuigang snorted coldly. After a day of chasing, he didn't feel tired at all. Because as a blood demon, he could absorb the evil force anytime and anywhere to replenish his consumed divine power. As for Qin Feiyang, along the way, he didn't need to do anything at all. He just needed to refine the evil force that entered his body. His mental state was naturally needless to say. Roar! Shuigang let out a beast-like roar and his body began to transform. In just a blink of an eye, his body was more than 300 meters tall. His whole body was covered with blood-red hair, just like a giant beast. After transforming, Shuigang's speed increased by another level. "Not good," Xue Ling exclaimed. Swish! The next moment, Shuigang left Qin Feiyang behind and streaked across the sky like lightning, blocking in front of Li Feng. Xue Ling controlled Li Feng's body and immediately turned in the air, preparing to escape to the back. However, when he saw Qin Feiyang at the back, he panicked and turned to the left to escape. Still not stopping, Shuigang was furious and his divine power roared in all directions. A gigantic divine power barrier descended with a loud rumble, and Li Feng was immediately imprisoned within it. "Li Feng, what should we do?" Xue Ling panicked. "How would I know?" Li Feng said angrily. Qin Feiyang stepped into the boundary and stopped in front of Li Feng. He nodded and said, "Not bad. You even dare to tease me. Let's talk nicely." Li Feng opened his mouth, but it was Xue Ling's figure. Qin Feiyang shouted, "Get out of his body. Don't be too arrogant. In terms of strength, you're no match for me. If you have the ability, tell the blood demon tribe not to interfere. Watch how I kill you." Xue Ling sneered. "Shuigang." Qin Feiyang did not talk nonsense and raised his head to look at Shuigang. Killing intent surged in his eyes. "Understood." Shuigang nodded, his eyes surging with bloody light. He raised his giant hand and slapped at Li Feng. "Li Feng, did you see that? He's here to kill you. To think that you still treat him as your big brother. You're really blind." Xue Ling roared. Li Feng said, "Get out of my body. Let me talk to him." Still not giving up? Good, good, good. Let's see what good you can come up with. Xue Ling exasperatedly came out of Li Feng's body. Seeing this, Xue Gang immediately changed his target and slapped at Xue Ling. Bastard. Xue Ling roared in anger. At the same time, Li Feng stepped in front of Xue Ling and shouted, "Don't hurt him." Xue Gang raised his brows. His giant hand stopped above Li Feng's head and he couldn't help but look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at Li Feng and Xue Ling in silence. Li Feng also turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said, "Qin Dage, I beg you. Don't hurt Xue Ling." Qin Feiyang still did not say a word. Li Feng was burning with anxiety. With a plop, he knelt in the air and said, "I'll kneel and beg you. Is that not enough? Kneel and beg me," Qin Feiyang muttered to himself, his face full of disappointment. He shook his head and said, "It seems that you've forgotten what I told you." "I haven't forgotten. You once said that I can't kneel to others easily." Li Feng lowered his head and said. Qin Feiyang said, "Then why are you kneeling and begging me now?" "Because I respect you. Because you're my benefactor. You deserve me to kneel." Li Feng said. Qin Feiyang said, "Since you respect me, why lie to me? Do you think I'm that easy to fool?" Li Feng stammered, his face was full of guilt. "Take this." Qin Feiyang took out a facial restoration pill and threw it to Li Feng. Li Feng caught the facial restoration pill, glanced at Qin Feiyang, and put it in his mouth. Soon, his face was restored. "Speak. Why did you lie to me?" Qin Feiyang said. Li Feng acted very timid, like a child who had done something wrong and was afraid of being punished by an adult. "Speak." Qin Feiyang shouted. Li Feng quivered and shouted, "I don't have the face to see you, okay? Why don't you have the face to see me?" Qin Feiyang asked. "I slaughtered the Nether King and Hell's creatures. I failed to live up to your expectations." Li Feng lowered his head and said guiltily. Qin Feiyang asked, "Then tell me, what did I expect from you?" "Work hard to become stronger." Li Feng said. "Wrong." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "Wrong?" Li Feng was slightly stunned. He gathered his courage and raised his head to look at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "My expectation for you is that you can live a peaceful life and continue the legacy of Cloud Mountain Village, not to let you be blinded by hatred. And not to let you do whatever it takes to increase your strength." Qin Feiyang said. "So this is your expectation for me? I thought you wanted me to become stronger and wanted me to take revenge for Cloud Mountain Village with my own hands. If you do this, what's the difference between me and a useless person?" Li Feng roared. Qin Feiyang looked at Li Feng deeply and said, "The hatred of Cloud Mountain Village has long been settled." "No!" Li Feng shouted and slowly got up. His face looked extremely ferocious as he stared at Qin Feiyang and said, "This blood debt is not over yet. Only by slaughtering all the dragons will the undead of Cloud Mountain Village rest in peace." Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, "I will deal with the dragons. You don't need to take the risk." "Risk? Don't make it sound so nice. I think in your heart, you think I'm overestimating myself. Let me tell you, I must destroy the dragons with my own hands, no matter the cost. And now you've disappointed me. I always thought that you gave me the pill to unlock the door of potential because you understand me and support me. But I didn't expect that you want me to live an ordinary life, to be a weak and useless person. Sorry, I can't do it." Li Feng grinned. "I gave you the pill to unlock the door of potential to give you the ability to create a better life, not for you to take revenge. Besides, isn't an ordinary life good? Does being ordinary mean being weak and useless? I have always wanted this kind of life, but for me, it's an extravagant hope. And you have this opportunity, why don't you cherish it? Qin Feiyang sighed. I don't need this kind of opportunity, and I don't need this kind of life. It's impossible for me to forget the hatred. I will never be able to do it. Unless you kill me now. Li Feng looked straight at Qin Feiyang. There was no longer fear in his eyes, only unwillingness and unwillingness. Chapter 2641. All right. I'll kill you so that you won't continue to wreak havoc in hell. Qin Feiyang took a step forward and landed in front of Li Feng. Murderous aura erupted from his body. The entire area seemed to have sunk into an ocean of murderous aura. Li Feng couldn't help but tremble. After slaughtering countless living beings, the murderous aura he emitted was terrifying enough. However, facing Qin Feiyang, he realized that his murderous aura was nothing. You're afraid? Then what courage do you have to face the dragons that even I fear? Qin Feiyang shouted. I'm not afraid. Li Feng roared stubbornly. Qin Feiyang raised his arm and grabbed Li Feng's neck. His eyes were as cold as an emotionless, cold-blooded creature. Looking at Qin Feiyang's eyes, Li Feng was even more terrified. He had no doubt that if he dared to be stubborn again, Qin Feiyang would really kill him. Seeing that the situation was not good, Sanguis hastily shouted, Qin Feiyang, what good will it do you to kill him? Qin Feiyang turned to Sanguis and said, then let me ask you, what good will it do you to keep him alive? Sanguis stuttered. Why did you get close to Li Feng? Why did you teach him such a cultivation method? What exactly is your purpose? Qin Feiyang threw out one question after another, causing Sanguis to panic. If you don't tell me, I can assure you that you won't live to see the sun rise tomorrow. Qin Feiyang said coldly. Sanguis panicked and said, the dragons are also my enemies. That's why I helped him and nurtured him. Then who are you? Qin Feiyang asked. Sanguis replied, I'm just a wandering ghost. A wandering ghost? Qin Feiyang sneered and said, fine, I'll turn you into a true wandering ghost right now. Shuigang, do it. Shuigang's gigantic hand immediately descended and grabbed Sanguis. Qin Feiyang, you can't do this. This is my personal matter. What does it have to do with you? Li Feng roared, struggling with all his might. Qin Feiyang's body stiffened. He never imagined that Li Feng would say such words. Are you my parents? You're not. You and I are just strangers who met on the road. What right do you have to meddle in my business? Li Feng shouted. Strangers meeting each other, Qin Feiyang murmured. After a long time, he turned to look at Li Feng and shook his head. Yeah, what relationship do I have with you that I need to take care of you like this? Don't joke around. You call this caring? You're ruining my future. Li Feng roared. All right. This is all my fault. I was too nosy. I'm just full and have nothing better to do. Qin Feiyang nodded and released Li Feng. His face regained its usual calmness and there was no longer any sympathy. In fact, he really liked Li Feng. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given Li Feng the elixir to unlock his potential. However, he never expected that what he got in return was Li Feng's abuse and resentment. That's right. He brought this upon himself. Sometimes, being a good person might not bring about good returns. It could be said that, Li Feng's words made Qin Feiyang give up completely. Originally, he wanted to bring Li Feng to the ancient city of Qingyu to apologize to Qingyu and then enter the time array to cultivate. But now, there was no need for that. Looking at Li Feng again, after Qin Feiyang released him, he immediately ran to Xueling's side. His blood-red eyes were filled with hostility. Qin Feiyang, let us go. We only killed some beasts and humans. We didn't hurt your interests. We didn't hurt the people around you. Take the Blood Demon tribe as an example. Originally, I wanted to attack the Blood Demon tribe, but Li Feng didn't agree. He said that the Blood Demon tribe is your friend and I can't touch them. You can imagine how much Li Feng cares about you. Why bother? Xue Ling sighed. Don't ask him. Anyway, my life was saved by him. Now that he wants it back, I'll return it to him. Li Feng said in a deep voice. What nonsense are you talking about? You only have one life. Don't you understand? Xue Ling said angrily. Instead of begging for mercy without dignity, it's better to die. Li Feng snorted. Qin Feiyang took a glance at Sanguis before he shook his head at Li Feng and said, although I am the one who saved you, I don't need you to return it to me. Your life is worthless to me. However, you have to pay the price for doing wrong. Xue Ling became nervous upon hearing this. Who in the Divine Land didn't know that this was the sentence that Qin Feiyang said the most? As long as this sentence came out, it meant that Qin Feiyang was really angry. At the same time, he also knew that he had completely given up on Li Feng. Qin Feiyang, let's talk nicely. I'll ask Li Feng to apologize to you. We promise that we won't kill the beasts of the Nether King's hell anymore. Please give us a way out. Xue Ling begged. Qin Feiyang looked at Xue Ling coldly before he turned around and looked at the night sky. He said indifferently, Xue Gang, you deal with them. Deal with them? Xue Gang was stunned. After all, the Blood Demon tribe is the ruler of the Nether King's hell. Since they killed the beasts of the Nether King's hell, they should be dealt with by the Blood Demon tribe. Qin Feiyang said without turning his head. Xue Ling roared, Qin Feiyang, don't be like this. I swear, okay? I won't kill any more beasts of the Nether King's hell. Qin Feiyang turned a deaf ear to Xue Ling. Xue Gang looked at Li Feng and Xue Ling and couldn't help but frown. However, Li Feng's expression didn't change. It seemed like he wasn't afraid of death. The atmosphere at the scene was somewhat heavy. After an unknown amount of time, Xue Gang looked at Qin Feiyang and loosened his grip on Xue Ling. He said, remember your promise. Don't kill any more beasts. Get lost. Huh? Xue Ling was stunned. Li Feng actually let them go? He thought that they would die without a doubt. Thank you. When Xue Ling came back to his senses, he quickly thanked Xue Gang and rushed into Li Feng's body. He urged, hurry up and leave. Li Feng looked at Qin Feiyang's back deeply before he turned around and disappeared into the night sky. Xue Gang watched the two of them disappear and returned to his original state. He walked to Qin Feiyang's side and sighed, you must be very sad to be spoken to like that by someone you regard as your younger brother. It's all right. Qin Feiyang shook his head and turned to look at Xue Gang. He smiled faintly and said, you, on the other hand, surprised me. You actually let them go. Aren't I giving you face? I only hope that they can keep their promise. Otherwise, don't blame the Blood Demon tribe for being ruthless. Xue Gang said. Giving me face, doesn't that mean that I owe the Blood Demon tribe another favor? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. He really didn't want to owe this favor. Because he no longer had any hope for Li Feng. We're all family. What's there to talk about favors? Let's go. Follow me to Luotian Ancient City. Our city lord has a lot of good wine hidden away. Xue Gang chuckled. Huh? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and asked in surprise, the Blood Demon tribe also knows how to brew wine? Of course. Xue Gang nodded. Then, can I drink it? You must know that everything in the Nether King's hell is related to the evil force. Qin Feiyang said. Xue Gang was stunned and shook his head, I have never thought about this. Why don't we go and try it first? All right. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. But just after Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang left, a middle-aged man in black clothes walked out from the darkness. Qin Feiyang, I didn't expect to meet you here. What a coincidence. The middle-aged man smiled and muttered, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. Immediately, the middle-aged man followed. On the other side, Li Feng stopped at the peak of a mountain with his head lowered. His face was extremely gloomy. Obviously, the resentment in his heart hadn't dissipated. What's wrong? Shui Ling appeared and asked suspiciously. I just can't accept it. Why can he deal with the dragons unscrupulously and let me be a trash and live an ordinary life? In his eyes, am I so unbearable? Li Feng said angrily. To be honest, this Qin Feiyang is really good to you. Because sometimes, living an ordinary life isn't necessarily a bad thing. Shui Ling pondered for a while and sighed. You're still speaking up for him? Li Feng glared at Shui Ling. Don't be so agitated. I'm just judging the matter as it is. But for someone your age, you shouldn't be able to understand these things. Shui Ling said. I don't understand. But I know that revenge must be taken. Li Feng said. It's good to take revenge. But to be honest, you shouldn't have fallen out with Qin Feiyang. Shui Ling shook his head. He already treated me like this. Should I continue to suck up to him? Li Feng looked at Shui Ling angrily. You're a typical example of being swayed by your emotions. Do you know? This Qin Feiyang is a very reliable backing for you. If you can grow under his protection, your cultivation path will definitely be unimpeded in the future. Take the current situation for example. With his relationship with the Blood Demon tribe, it is enough to bring you great benefits. Unfortunately, because of your rashness, you missed this opportunity. Shui Ling shook his head in pity. I don't regret it. If he can do it, why can't I? Don't tell me that Qin Feiyang is the only genius in this world. I want him to see with his own eyes that even without his help, I can rely on my own ability to reach the pinnacle of my life. I, Li Feng, am not inferior to him. Li Feng roared. You're so confident? Shui Ling was surprised. Li Feng nodded. Great. Since you have such fighting spirit, I will not hold back to help you in the future. Shui Ling said. How? You've already promised them that you won't slaughter the beasts here. Li Feng frowned. What's the point of a promise? Besides, isn't there a large number of humans here? The Blood Demon tribe won't interfere if we slaughter those humans, right? Shui Ling laughed. Yes. We will slaughter the humans. Anyway, the Blood Demon tribe is also giving orders to hunt them down. Speaking of which, we can be considered as helping the Blood Demon tribe. Li Feng's eyes lit up. That's right. There are a lot of people entering the Nether King's hell this time. If you can kill them all and absorb their cultivation and flesh, then you will definitely have no problem stepping into the ninth heaven realm. Shui Ling smiled seductively. When Li Feng heard this, he urged, then let's start quickly. He, Shui Ling immediately went into Li Feng's body. Li Feng also jumped down from the mountain peak and disappeared into the mountains below. Chapter 2642. A few days later, Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang slowly returned to Luotian ancient city. There was nothing urgent, so there was no need to rush. Qin Feiyang also took the opportunity to appreciate the scenery of hell. When they entered Luotian ancient city, the Luotian city lord personally came to welcome them. Shui Gang didn't hide anything and told the Luotian city lord about the release of Li Feng and Shui Ling. After the Luotian city lord heard about it, he didn't blame him. Hence, the Luotian city lord began to arrange a banquet. When it came to good wine, the Luotian city lord wasn't stingy. However, when the wine and dishes were placed on the table, Qin Feiyang was extremely speechless. The dining table was a few 100 feet wide. The dishes on the table were even more exaggerated. For example, one of the dishes was a piece of barbecue, but that barbecue was bigger than an ordinary house. The wine jars that the Luotian city lord took out were also extremely large and one could take a bath in them. Brother Qin, please understand. After all, we are bigger in size. The things we use and eat are definitely different from you humans. The Luotian city lord laughed. No, no. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The dishes were very tempting and the wine was very fragrant, but none of them could be eaten by Qin Feiyang. Because these dishes and wine all contained evil power. But it was hard to refuse. Qin Feiyang also tasted them one by one. Anyway, swallowing a little bit of evil power wouldn't kill him. At most, it would take some time to refine it. At this time, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but envy the frenzy and the white-eyed wolf. These two guys could absorb the evil power. Even if they ate a lot of meat and drank a lot of wine, it wouldn't have any effect. Very soon. Half a month passed. Qin Feiyang learned that Luotian Ancient City also had a time array and it was the same as the mysterious Sky Ancient City, 200 years in a day. He couldn't help but feel a sense of defeat. In the outside world, it was difficult to find a time array even if you risked your life. But in hell, it felt like it was overflowing. The most helpless thing was, if these time arrays were placed outside, it would definitely cause a storm of blood. However, the blood demons did not think much of it at all. They felt that it was not worth as much as a jar of wine. Comparisons are odious. This sentence was indeed true. After staying in the Luotian Ancient City for half a month, Qin Feiyang prepared to set off and return to the ancient city of Qingyu. After all, he still had to cultivate and couldn't delay it for too long. Early morning. Outside the city gates. Brother Qin, since you insist on leaving, I won't force you. However, if you have the chance in the future, you must come to Luotian Ancient City again. The doors of All Heaven Ancient City will always be open for you. The Luotian City Lord smiled as he looked at Qin Feiyang, who was standing opposite him. Thank you. Qin Feiyang thanked him sincerely. The longer he interacted with the blood demon race, the more favorable his impression of them became. That was because the blood demons were all very straightforward and never played any tricks. His attitude towards people was also quite friendly. But in advance, you must obtain the blood demon race's approval. Now that he thought about it, the dragons were really stupid back then. If the dragons could put down their pride and be on good terms with the blood demon race when they first entered the Nether King's hell, they definitely wouldn't be in such a situation now. However, it was almost impossible for the dragons to put down their pride and be on good terms. After all, the dragon style had always been that they were invincible and no matter who it was, they would have to submit to them. The Luotian City Lord smiled and looked at Shuigang. It's better for you to escort Brother Qin. You don't have to escort Brother Qin safely to the ancient city of Qingyu. Yes. Shuigang nodded. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and said, Senior City Lord, there's no need for that, right? No need? The Luotian City Lord was stunned. Who in the blood demon race doesn't know about my relationship with you? Even those beasts definitely know about it. Hence, there's no need for Shuigang to make this trip. I can go back by myself. Qin Feiyang said. That won't do. Although the blood demon race and the beasts in hell won't hurt you, don't forget that there are still many humans in hell. I heard that there are many humans who want to get rid of you. What if you meet them? Hence, Shuigang must escort you all the way back to the ancient city of Qingyu. The Luotian City Lord said. This, Qin Feiyang hesitated for a moment before he turned to look at Shui Gang and said with a smile, "Then I'll have to trouble you." "What's there to trouble me about?" Shui Gang waved his hand. "Then let's set off." Qin Feiyang smiled and looked at the Luo Tian city lord. He cupped his hands and said, "Senior city lord, I hope to see you again." "I hope to see you again." The Luo Tian city lord smiled and nodded. Whoosh! Shui Gang waved his hand and swept up Qin Feiyang. Then, he soared into the sky and disappeared into the horizon like a stream of light. "I hope you're really the hope of the blood demon race." The Luo Tian city lord looked in the direction where Qin Feiyang disappeared and muttered to himself. 3 days later. In the sky above a mountain. "Like I said, there's no need for you to escort me. Look, we haven't even met a single human these few days." Qin Feiyang smiled. "More people means more insurance." Shui Gang smiled. "You guys are so good to me. I don't know how to repay you in the future." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "I don't feel comfortable listening to your words. Is the blood demon race helping you for your repayment?" Shui Gang seemed to be angry. Yes. It's my fault, it's my fault." Qin Feiyang quickly apologized. "The blood demon race is different from humans. We don't play any tricks. We only know that as long as you're a friend of the blood demon race, it doesn't matter even if you have to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames." Shui Gang said. "It doesn't matter even if you have to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames," Qin Feiyang muttered. He couldn't understand why the dragons would want to kill such a group of cute and righteous blood demons. Couldn't everyone get along peacefully? There was also the dragon god. Why did he keep the blood demon race in the underworld king's hell? Wait! Suddenly, Shui Gang braked and stopped in the air with Qin Feiyang. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang quickly regained his senses and looked at him in surprise. "There's someone in front." Shui Gang stared at the giant peak in front of him. Qin Feiyang looked in the same direction, but the distance was too close and he couldn't see clearly. "This person gives me a very dangerous feeling. Let's take a detour." After Shui Gang finished speaking, he immediately took Qin Feiyang to the left. However, not long after, Shui Gang stopped again. Could there be someone else? Qin Feiyang was surprised. "Yes." Shui Gang nodded and said in a deep voice, "It's the same person from before." "Who is it?" Qin Feiyang frowned. His cultivation was much lower than Shui Gang's, so he couldn't see as far as Shui Gang. "It's a middle-aged man, wearing a long black robe. He's also staring at us. It seems like he's smiling at us." Shui Gang said in a deep voice. "Smiling at us?" Qin Feiyang looked in the direction Shui Gang was looking at, and his brows couldn't help but furrow. They had met head-on before, and now they met again after taking a detour. This person was obviously coming for them. No. They weren't here for him or Shui Gang. They were here for him. Because Shui Gang was from the blood demon race. It was already a blessing that the blood demon race didn't find trouble with them. Who would dare to take the initiative to provoke the blood demon race? Let's try taking a detour again. Shui Gang took Qin Feiyang to the right again. But after a dozen breaths, Shui Gang stopped again, and his expression was extremely ugly. "He's blocking the way in front again?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Yes." Shui Gang nodded. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, "This person should be looking for me. You stay here. I'll go and take a look." "How can this be? What if he wants to harm you?" Shui Gang firmly objected. "If he really wants to harm me, he will definitely attack me secretly. Why would he stand in front of us and block our way?" Qin Feiyang said. "If that's the case, why should I stay here?" Let's go together. If there's really danger, we can take care of each other. Shuigang said. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. In fact, he couldn't tell whether the other party was friend or foe, because he didn't even see the person. The two didn't take a detour and flew straight ahead. About a dozen breaths later, Qin Feiyang finally saw a black figure on a mountain peak in front of him. From afar, that person had no aura, like a ghost. Another few breaths passed. Qin Feiyang could finally see the person's appearance clearly. Sure enough, as Shuigang said, it was a middle-aged man in black. He was about 1.8 meters tall, and his thick black hair draped over his shoulders. He stood on a huge rock on the mountain peak with his hands behind his back. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and his body exuded a calm aura. And there was indeed a trace of a smile on his face. However, on the right side of his face, there was a finger-long scar, like a knife scar, which made the smile on his face somewhat scary. Shuigang secretly said, "Do you know him?" "I don't know him." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "Then you have to be careful. Although he is restraining his aura, I can feel that his cultivation is also at the perfection 9th heaven realm." Shuigang transmitted his voice. Qin Feiyang nodded. Shuigang had taken a detour several times before, which was enough to prove that this person gave Shuigang a lot of pressure. When they were about 10 miles away from the mountain peak, Shuigang decisively stopped and looked at the middle-aged man in black with vigilance. "Fate, Qin Feiyang." The middle-aged man in black glanced at Shuigang, then looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. "We know each other?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "You definitely don't know me, but I know you. After all, in Divine Land, who doesn't know your name, Qin Feiyang?" The middle-aged man in black chuckled. So far, Qin Feiyang had not found the slightest hostility from the middle-aged man in black. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, "May I ask Senior's name? Why are you blocking our way? You may not know my name even if I tell you." "As for blocking your way," the middle-aged man in black paused and chuckled, "of course it's to kill you." It was an understatement. It seemed that in his eyes, killing Qin Feiyang was an extremely simple matter. But when it fell into Qin Feiyang's ears, it was like a bolt of lightning striking his head. One had to know. He was now protected by Shuigang. But this person was so blatant and undisguised, he even disdained to use a sneak attack. What did this mean? It meant that this person was full of confidence. Chapter 2643. At the same time, Shuigang's expression suddenly changed. He immediately stood in front of Qin Feiyang and stared at the middle-aged man in black. The middle-aged man in black glanced at Shuigang and didn't seem to take it to heart. He then looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. "You have another choice. Submit to me and I can spare your life. Are you that confident?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "Yes." The middle-aged man in black nodded. If it was someone else, they would be arrogant. But when it came to the middle-aged man in black, it felt reasonable. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. He couldn't see through this person at all. It was as if there was a mysterious veil covering him. "With me here, you still want to kill Brother Qin?" Shuigang suddenly released his aura and shouted, "Brother Qin, step back." Qin Feiyang didn't refuse and quickly retreated into the distance. "Blood demon race," the middle-aged man in black whispered and looked at Shuigang. "Then I'll kill you first. Don't be arrogant." Shuigang raised his fist and punched at the middle-aged man in black. The terrifying power even collapsed a large part of the void. "I've studied the blood demon race. You have endless strength and a strong body. But, you'll soon know that there are more terrifying existences in this world than the blood demon race. The middle-aged man in black smiled faintly and also raised his arm and punched. Boom! The two fists, one big and one small, collided. The difference in size between the two was huge. If Shui Gang was compared to an elephant, then the middle-aged man in black was an ant. With such a difference, no one would believe that the middle-aged man in black could defeat the elephant Shui Gang. But when the two fists collided, the result was that Shui Gang was sent flying by the punch. What? Qin Feiyang looked at this scene in shock. His heart was in turmoil. Because the blood demon race couldn't break through the imperishable realm, they began to strengthen their body when they reached the perfection ninth heaven realm. In terms of strength and physical strength, no one dared to say that they were first. However, at this moment, Shui Gang actually lost to the middle-aged man in black in terms of physical strength and strength. How did this person do it? Shui Gang was the same. After stabilizing his body, he stared at the black-clothed middle-aged man, his face filled with disbelief. How is it? The middle-aged man in black smiled faintly. Shui Gang was silent, but his dignified eyes were enough to explain everything. I believe you already know the gap between us. I have no intention of becoming enemies with your blood demon race. Leave Qin Feiyang behind. You can leave. The middle-aged man in black smiled faintly. The blood demon race has always valued promises the most. Since I have promised to send Brother Qin safely to the ancient city of Qingyu, I will definitely do it. Don't even think about harming Brother Qin. Shui Gang took a deep breath, put away all his contempt, and once again rushed towards the black-clothed middle-aged man. I've already given you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Don't blame me when you die. The black-clothed middle-aged man still smiled casually. Rumble. The two of them clashed, their power roaring in all directions, their fists landing on flesh. The more Shui Gang fought, the more frightened he became. Whether it was in terms of strength or physical strength, this person was actually above him. Puff! After a few hundred exchanges, Shui Gang spat out a mouthful of blood. His huge body was like a meteorite, smashing into the mountains below. So strong. I'm afraid only Shui Gang's transformation can defeat him. Qin Feiyang muttered. But transformation, Qin Feiyang looked up at the sky. It was still early in the morning, and he would have to wait for an entire day to transform. It seemed like he would be facing a tough battle. Sigh. I didn't want to kill you, but you're courting your own death. Since that's the case, I'll fulfill your wish. The black-clothed middle-aged man sighed. His index finger pointed in the air, and a ray of divine power surged out. It carried a destructive aura as it charged towards Shui Gang below. You want to kill me with this? You're too naive. Shui Gang suddenly stood up. Without any fancy moves, he directly threw a punch. It was a simple, violent move. Rumble. The divine power was immediately annihilated. Swoosh! Immediately after, Shui Gang's aura was like a rainbow. He took a step into the sky and stomped towards the black-clothed middle-aged man. That scene was like a giant spirit descending to the world, preparing to trample on a tiny ant. However, the black-clothed middle-aged man was not moved at all. He met Shui Gang's giant foot with his palm. Rumble. Crack. Shui Gang was once again sent flying. The skin and flesh on the soles of his feet were lacerated, and even his bones were broken. How terrifying is his strength! Qin Feiyang muttered. This was the first time he saw someone who could crush the blood demon race in terms of strength and physical body. Roar! Shui Gang roared. The power of the evil sun descended and merged into his body at lightning speed. His injuries immediately began to heal. Summoning the power of the evil sun, the blood demon race is indeed a group of people who can't be provoked. The black-clothed middle-aged man shook his head and sighed. It's good that you know. Shuigang smiled coldly. As long as the other party did not have the strength to destroy him, he was immortal. And the other party obviously did not have the strength to destroy him. This was because they were both at the peak Nine Heavens realm. Although the other party's physical body and strength surpassed his, he was confident that he could block all of the other party's attacks. As long as he could last until night, he would be this person's nightmare. The black-clothed middle-aged man said, "Are you thinking of dragging the battle until night?" "That's right." Shuigang did not deny it. "That's a good idea, but you can't do it because I can end this battle at any time. This is strength." The black-clothed middle-aged man laughed. "Huh, then give it a try." Shuigang laughed. The corners of the black-clothed middle-aged man's mouth lifted, and waves of divine power emerged. Clang! Battle swords appeared one after another. Each battle sword seemed to be made of gold, emitting a sharp aura that could destroy the heavens and the earth. In just a few breaths of time, there were as many as 100,000 battle swords that appeared in the void above. They were densely packed, covering the sky and the earth. God-slaying sword formation. As the black-clothed middle-aged man's voice fell, the 100,000 battle swords suddenly danced in the sky. Almost in the next instant, a huge sword formation appeared above Shuigang's head. The sword formation was like a skull pattern that connected the 100,000 battle swords. Once the sword formation was formed, a monstrous power erupted like a volcano. At this moment, the void shattered, and the heavens collapsed. The earth and mountains below were also crazily shattering and cracking. The abyss spread, and chasms were everywhere. It was like the scene of the end of the world, shocking the world. God-slaying sword formation. Qin Feiyang looked up at the sword formation, and he couldn't help but feel fear in his heart. Each of the 100,000 battle swords contained the power to destroy the world. Could Shuigang withstand it? The power of the evil sun can help you heal the damage, but it can't give you a true immortal body. Tell me, if I chop you into mincemeat, can the power of the evil sun save you? The black-clothed middle-aged man laughed, and with a wave of his hand, the god-slaying sword formation descended from the sky. The 100,000 battle swords were like a meat grinder, enveloping Shuigang. Clang! Shuigang's expression was solemn, and with a wave of his hand, he took out a blood-colored saber that was peerlessly sharp. Kill! With a low roar, Shuigang rushed to the sky and slashed with his saber. Boom! Clang! That blood-red saber was a supreme-grade artifact. However, under the god-slaying sword formation, the supreme artifact was unable to withstand a single blow and was instantly shattered. Not good. Shuigang, retreat! Qin Feiyang shouted. Each of the swords in the god-slaying sword formation was comparable to a supreme artifact. In other words, at this moment, Shuigang was facing 100,000 supreme artifacts. Shuigang couldn't withstand such a formation. At the same time, he was shocked. Where did this black-clothed middle-aged man come from? How did he master such a terrifying deity art? Although it wasn't at the level of a heaven-defying deity art, it was no different from a heaven-defying deity art. At the same level, no one could break through the god-slaying sword formation. In fact, even without Qin Feiyang's reminder, Shuigang had already sensed the danger. Even a supreme artifact was so fragile under the god-slaying sword formation. It definitely couldn't take it head-on. He immediately put away the shattered blood-colored saber, used a supreme auxiliary deity art, and fled with lightning speed. I gave you a chance, but you didn't take it. Now you want to escape? How is that possible? The black-clothed middle-aged man waved his hand, and the 100,000 swords scattered, forming a huge cage. Shuigang was immediately trapped in the cage. The terrifying sword qi and peerless sharpness drowned Shuigang like a tide. Roar! in just an instant. Shui Gang's flesh and blood flew everywhere, and he was dripping with blood. Shui Gang, who was in a desperate situation, roared towards the sky, and the power of the evil sun descended. However, the power of the evil sun couldn't heal the wounds on Shui Gang's body. This was because each of the sword chi was like an indestructible blade that constantly cut at Shui Gang's body. The black-clothed middle-aged man smiled faintly, facing such a desperate situation. Do you have a way? Roar! Shui Gang roared again and again. He had exhausted all his means, but he still couldn't break through the god-slaying sword formation. You still dare to doubt my ability? Now, do you regret it? Unfortunately, it's too late. I'll send you to hell now. The black-clothed middle-aged man chuckled. With a wave of his hand, 100,000 swords clanged and rushed towards Shui Gang from all directions. 100,000 battle swords, 100,000 supreme-grade divine artifacts. That terrifying scene was enough to make anyone despair. Brother Qin, quickly return to Luotian Ancient City. As long as you return to Luotian Ancient City, no matter how bold he is, he won't dare to do anything to you. Shui Gang roared. Don't worry. He won't leave. Because he is such a person. He will never leave his companions behind. The black-clothed middle-aged man shook his head. You know me very well. Qin Feiyang frowned. The black-clothed middle-aged man smiled faintly. Who in Divine Land doesn't know you, Qin Feiyang? Brother Qin, don't be rash. This person's strength has surpassed ours by too much. Staying behind will only be a waste of our lives. Quickly leave. Shui Gang roared hysterically. Qin Feiyang glanced at Shui Gang, then looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man again. He took a deep breath and said, although the god-slaying sword formation is powerful, it's not invincible. Is that so? Then show it to me. The black-clothed middle-aged man smiled. Boom! Qin Feiyang activated the Rising Dragon's secret art and took the Heavenly Dust Divine Pill. His cultivation immediately soared. Small success, great success, perfection. Now. He had broken through to the initial stage of the ninth heaven realm, so with the help of the Rising Dragon's secret art and the Heavenly Dust Divine Pill, he successfully stepped into the perfection stage of the ninth heaven realm. Immediately after, Qin Feiyang took a step forward, and an invisible force surged out like a tide. Soul Destruction Technique. Chapter 2644. The Soul Extermination Technique could ignore all defenses. Even the God-punishing sword array couldn't block it. Although using the soul-destroying technique might expose his identity as Li Bu, he couldn't care less about that now. Boom! An invisible force rushed toward the black-clothed man like a torrent. The black-clothed man didn't care at first, but when he saw that the invisible force could easily penetrate the god-punishing sword array, he couldn't help but be shocked. This is, for the first time, his expression changed. In the blink of an eye. The invisible force had already arrived in front of the black-clothed man, and a great sense of crisis emerged in his heart. For the first time, the black-clothed man took the initiative to retreat, and his eyes were full of surprise. Die! Qin Feiyang roared. The invisible force surged, ignoring the black-clothed man's physical body, and went straight for the divine soul in his sea of consciousness. This is a killing technique that targets the divine soul. The black-clothed man was horrified and immediately screamed as he fell down powerlessly. The god-punishing sword array also collapsed. When Shui Gang saw this, he was also shocked. He didn't expect Qin Feiyang to have mastered such a terrifying killing technique. Ignoring defense and directly erasing the divine soul? Then wouldn't their blood demon race be the same as the black-clothed man in front of Qin Feiyang? Their physical defense was useless? Qin Feiyang had always been glad that he could become friends with the blood demon race. At this moment, Shuigang couldn't help but be glad that he could become friends with Qin Feiyang. Otherwise, this soul-killing technique alone would bring about a calamity to the blood demon race. I'm okay. Qin Feiyang looked at Shuigang with concern. I'm just a little injured. It's not a big deal. Shuigang waved his hand and looked down at the black-clothed man. His life force seemed to be dissipating. He died just like that? He was too weak to take a beating. The soul extermination technique is invincible in the same realm. Unless you have a divine artifact that protects the divine soul, no one can survive. Qin Feiyang laughed. Huh, amazing. Shuigang laughed and gave Qin Feiyang a thumbs up. Let's go. Let's go down and take a look. Perhaps we can find something in his interspatial ring that can prove his identity. Qin Feiyang said. All right. Shuigang nodded. The two of them landed in front of the middle-aged man in black. Qin Feiyang immediately looked at the middle-aged man's index finger. There was a cosmos ring on his index finger. Boom! However, just as Qin Feiyang bent down and was about to take off the interspatial ring, the black-robed middle-aged man suddenly opened his eyes. A terrifying aura burst out with a roar. Caught off guard, Qin Feiyang was blasted away on the spot, blood gushing out of his mouth. Not dead. Shuigang was also shocked. He quickly ran to Qin Feiyang's side and helped Qin Feiyang up. Yes. I'm not dead. The black-clothed middle-aged man slowly stood up. His tone was cold. Don't worry about me. Although he's not dead, looking at his face, his divine soul must have been seriously injured. Take this opportunity to kill him. Qin Feiyang shouted. The black-clothed middle-aged man's face was as pale as paper. Obviously, he was not completely fine. Hearing this, Shuigang immediately took a step forward. His aura surged out and he charged toward the black-clothed middle-aged man. You've missed the best time. If you had attacked me the moment I was injured by the soul-extinguishing art, I would have died. But now, I've recovered. Next, it will be your doomsday. For the first time, the black-clothed middle-aged man's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He threw a punch at Shuigang's fist. Boom! Shuigang was directly sent flying. Like a cannonball, he smashed into a giant mountain in the distance. With a loud bang, the giant mountain collapsed on the spot. However, the black-clothed middle-aged man's gaze turned and fell on Qin Feiyang. He smiled and said, "You're really powerful. You can actually determine that my divine soul is seriously injured. Not bad. Just a moment ago, the soul-extinguishing art could have erased my divine soul. But unfortunately, I have a legendary artifact that protects my divine soul. Although it's not as good as a supreme artifact, with my cultivation base, I can barely block the soul-extinguishing art." Then now, what other ways do you have? The black-clothed middle-aged man walked toward Qin Feiyang step by step. The murderous intent in his eyes was undisguised. Who exactly are you? Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. When you go to hell, the king of hell will tell you. The black-clothed middle-aged man rushed in front of Qin Feiyang. He clenched his 5 fingers and punched toward Qin Feiyang's head. Humph! You can barely block it the first time. What about the second and third time? Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. While retreating, he once again activated the soul-extinguishing art. An invisible force suddenly rushed toward the middle-aged man. I'm already on guard. Do you think you can still succeed? The black-clothed middle-aged man smiled disdainfully. With a mysterious step, he instantly appeared behind Qin Feiyang. Bang! A punch suddenly blasted onto Qin Feiyang's body. At the critical moment, Qin Feiyang activated the Wisdom King's golden body. With the protection of the Wisdom King's golden body, the black-clothed middle-aged man's punch did not cause any harm to him. Qin Feiyang was a veteran of hundreds of battles. Naturally, he would not miss this opportunity. At the same time that the Wisdom King's golden body was activated, the soul-extinguishing art reappeared and instantly submerged the black-clothed middle-aged man. Ah! The black-clothed middle-aged man immediately let out another miserable groan. He never thought that Qin Feiyang could actually launch such a fierce counterattack at this time. Die! It was also at this moment. Shui Gang rushed over aggressively. While the black-clothed middle-aged man was submerged in the soul-extinguishing art, the iron-like fist suddenly blasted onto the black-clothed middle-aged man's back. Boom! Immediately, the black-clothed middle-aged man was blasted out. His physical body was almost deformed and finally smashed into a distant mountain. Several nearby giant peaks were instantly razed to the ground. Take advantage of his illness and kill him. Quickly go over and eliminate the roots. Qin Feiyang shouted. Shui Gang immediately took Qin Feiyang and rushed towards the mountain. Qin Feiyang, I admit that I underestimated you. Your combat awareness, emergency ability, and control of timing are even better than mine. However, you want to kill me? You don't have the strength yet. God-slaying sword formation. But before they got close, the black-clothed middle-aged man's roar rang out. Following closely, 100,000 battle swords appeared out of thin air, forming a skull sword formation, crazily attacking Qin Feiyang and the black-clothed middle-aged man. After being hit by the soul-extinguishing art twice in a row, you can still fight back? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Whoosh! As his voice fell, the black-clothed middle-aged man rushed into the sky and stood behind the god-slaying sword formation. His face was pale, bleeding from the corner of his mouth, and his face was covered in dust. He looked extremely miserable. At the same time, that pale face was filled with anger and hostility. He thought that he could easily get rid of Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang, but he did not expect that he would suffer losses in the hands of Qin Feiyang. If this spread out, where would his face go? Shui Gang, withdraw. Qin Feiyang shouted in a low voice. Shui Gang waved his hand, rolled up Qin Feiyang, turned around, and flew away. Want to leave? Did you get this emperor's permission? The black-clothed middle-aged man said coldly. He raised his hand and shouted, Supreme Divine Art, Heaven and Earth Cage. Divine power gushed out. A huge cage appeared in an instant, covering tens of millions of miles. Blast it open. Shui Gang shouted. The two of them attacked together. Divine power surged and blasted towards the cage. However, when their fists landed on the cage, they felt as if they had punched a sponge. All of their power was absorbed by the cage. How could this be? Shui Gang was shocked. Stop struggling. The black-clothed middle-aged man stood outside the Heaven and Earth cage and laughed. Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang raised their heads and looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man. You can feel it, right? The Heaven and Earth cage can absorb your divine power and energy. But do you know where the divine power and energy it absorbs goes? Let me tell you. It has absorbed your divine power and power, making it even more indestructible. In other words, the Heaven and Earth cage can absorb other people's energy to strengthen itself. The black-clothed middle-aged man looked at the two of them with contempt and laughed. Strengthen itself? Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang were shocked. You still don't understand? Then I'll explain it to you in simple terms. The Heaven and Earth cage can transform your divine power and energy into its own energy. The more you attack it, the more energy and divine power it absorbs. Naturally, it will be more indestructible. The black-clothed middle-aged man laughed. There's such a divine art? Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang looked at each other. There are all kinds of divine arts in this world. It's just that you haven't seen them yet. However, you should be content with what you have. Because you have seen two powerful divine arts, Heaven and Earth Cage and God-punishing sword array. When you go to the Yellow Spring, I believe you will be able to rest in peace. The black-clothed middle-aged man smiled coldly. The terrifying God-punishing sword array charged toward the two of them. I don't believe that I can't break this damn cage. Shui Gang roared. His divine power surged as he punched the Heaven and Earth Cage without holding back. Boom! However, this punch was the same as before. It was like hitting a sponge. Moreover, his divine power was also absorbed by the Heaven and Earth Cage. It seems like he's not trying to scare us. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Then what should we do now? Shui Gang was at a loss. Qin Feiyang looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man and said in a deep voice, although the Heaven and Earth Cage can absorb divine power, there is a limit. What? Shui Gang was suspicious. What I mean is that as long as we break this limit, the Heaven and Earth Cage will naturally shatter. Qin Feiyang said. Break this limit? Shui Gang frowned. This wouldn't be easy. But now, there was no other way. He could only believe in Qin Feiyang. 3,000 clones, activate. Qin Feiyang shouted in a low voice. 3,000 clones suddenly appeared in the void behind them. Break it for me. Qin Feiyang shouted. Boom! The 3,000 clones immediately erupted with a terrifying aura. Moreover, these auras weren't any weaker than Qin Feiyang's. So that's how it is. Relying on the 3,000 clones to break the limit of the Heaven and Earth Cage. Shui Gang suddenly understood and immediately took action. Together with Qin Feiyang and the 3,000 clones, they attacked the Heaven and Earth Cage with all their might. Chapter 2645. The Heaven and Earth Cage sealed off all the escape routes and behind them was the God-slaying sword array. Qin Feiyang and Shui Gang had no choice but to forcefully break the Heaven and Earth Cage. Boom! Qin Feiyang, his 3,000 incarnations and Shui Gang blasted the Heaven and Earth Cage almost at the same time. A deafening explosion rang out. Kacha! The next moment, the Heaven and Earth Cage was torn apart. Is it really possible? Shui Gang was shocked. Sure enough, as Qin Feiyang expected, the Heaven and Earth Cage had a limit. Go! Qin Feiyang shouted. Not bad, not bad. Even the Heaven and Earth Cage can be broken. Qin Feiyang, I really like you more and more, but unfortunately, we are not in the same camp. You must die. The middle-aged man in black shook his head regretfully. With a wave of his hand, the God-slaying sword array instantly fell above Qin Feiyang and the others. That terrifying edge immediately shrouded them. Go to hell. The middle-aged man in black laughed and the God-slaying sword array slammed down towards Qin Feiyang and the others. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. Activate the soul-extinguishing technique and kill him together. Qin Feiyang shouted. Soul-extinguishing technique, activate. The 3,000 incarnations roared. An invisible force suddenly surged out like a tide. 3,000 incarnations, 3,000 invisible forces, what kind of concept was this? 3,000 invisible forces gathered together like a raging wave in the ocean. They passed through the God-slaying sword array and rushed towards the middle-aged man in black. Seeing this, the middle-aged man in black also changed his expression and turned to flee without hesitation. 3,000 incarnations activated the soul-extinguishing technique at the same time. This was no joke. If one was submerged, even with the artifact protecting the divine soul, one would die without a doubt. Shuigang suddenly roared, "Don't worry about him, quickly block the god-slaying sword array." Although the middle-aged man in black was running for his life, the god-slaying sword array did not dissipate and was charging towards them with a terrifying aura. "Huh, you can't block the god-slaying sword array. All of you go to hell." The black-clothed middle-aged man laughed as he fled. "What's so great about a mere sword formation? With our strength, we can definitely fight 1 against 100. One of the avatars snorted and shouted, "Open the eye of heaven." Boom! Immediately, the 3,000 incarnations all activated their fighting souls. Damn, they even know how to give orders? Qin Feiyang looked at the incarnation in astonishment. Following closely. Without any hesitation, he also activated his purple gold dragon soul. Ding! 3001 purple gold dragon souls roared into the sky and activated their innate abilities at the same time. The next moment, a shocking scene appeared. A god-slaying sword array appeared in front of each dragon soul. With 3001 dragon souls, there would be 3001 god-slaying sword formations. Vast and mighty, the sharpness of the blade could destroy the world. Kill! Qin Feiyang roared. Kill! The 3,000 clones also raised their heads and roared. Clang! Immediately, the 3001st god-punishing sword formation charged towards the black-clothed middle-aged man's god-punishing sword formation. This scene, it's really spectacular. Shuigang muttered. How was this him protecting Qin Feiyang? It was clearly Qin Feiyang protecting him. Clang! Rumble! When the god-punishing sword formation met, there was an earth-shaking loud noise that lingered in the ears. The surrounding void and the ground below were crazily shattering and collapsing. Although Qin Feiyang's current cultivation was at the 9th heaven realm, which was a small realm lower than the black-clothed middle-aged man, he won in terms of numbers. The 3001st god-punishing sword formation continued to bombard. The sword formation in front collapsed, but there were more behind, one after another. Crack! Finally, the black-clothed middle-aged man's god-punishing sword formation also began to gradually collapse. Let's do something more ruthless. Activate all the Paragon Divine Arts and completely crush it. Another incarnation gave an order. These guys, Qin Feiyang shook his head. They had already learned to give orders. However, looking at these incarnations, there was an unprecedented pride in his heart. Because these incarnations were all born because of him. And these 3,000 incarnations were becoming more and more reliable. Ding! Chirp! Roar! Crack! Divine Dragon Technique, Fire Phoenix Technique, Fire Thunder Divine Art, Qilin Technique, in just a moment. The 4 supreme-level divine slaughtering arts had appeared out of nowhere. Kill! Qin Feiyang roared. Right then, all the divine arts were activated together, like a destructive torrent. They blasted into the god-punishing sword formation. Boom! Finally, the god-punishing sword formation collapsed. The black-clothed middle-aged man immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, his face full of shock. He actually really disintegrated the god-punishing sword formation? It was too terrifying. Why was there such a sick person? If he was not eliminated today and continued to grow, who would be able to subdue him in the future? No. He had to strangle this child in the cradle. The black-clothed middle-aged man stopped in the void and lowered his head to look at Qin Feiyang, murderous intent surging in his eyes. You actually didn't escape? Then you can go to hell. Qin Feiyang sneered coldly. The 3,000 incarnations also looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man with murderous intent. The soul destruction technique was activated again. 3001 invisible force rushed toward the black-clothed middle-aged man like a tsunami. The black-clothed middle-aged man took a deep breath and said, "It's time to let you see my real trump card." As his voice fell, the black-clothed middle-aged man's body shook and a mighty aura broke out of his body. Trump card? Qin Feiyang looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man in surprise. Facing the soul destruction technique, he actually didn't escape. Could this trump card help the black-clothed middle-aged man block the attack of the soul destruction technique? Clang! In the next moment, with a loud bang, golden shields suddenly appeared in the void around the black-clothed middle-aged man. There were a total of 10 shields. Each shield seemed to be made of gold, emitting a dazzling radiance. And the shields weren't big. 1 meter tall, half a meter wide, and 2 fingers thick. The 10 shields appeared and surrounded the black-clothed middle-aged man, shining with divine light. Battle Soul, Invincible Shield. The black-clothed middle-aged man stared at Qin Feiyang and said word by word. Invincible Shield? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Boom! At this moment, the soul destruction technique surged and instantly drowned the black-clothed middle-aged man. However, the soul destruction technique that had always been successful was blocked by the 10 shields at this moment and couldn't get close to the black-clothed middle-aged man. How can this be? Isn't the soul destruction technique able to ignore all defenses? Qin Feiyang's eyes widened in anger. The 3,000 incarnations were also in disbelief. The soul destruction technique couldn't penetrate the 10 shields. The black-clothed middle-aged man took a step forward and was unscathed like a demon. Let's go. 3,000 incarnations, stop him. Shuigang, let's go. Qin Feiyang shouted. Shuigang waved his hand and swept up Qin Feiyang before turning to flee. Even the soul destruction technique couldn't hurt the black-clothed middle-aged man. How could they continue fighting? If they didn't leave, they would all die later. Leave? The black-clothed middle-aged man sneered and waved his hand. The heaven and earth cage fell and enveloped all directions. Moreover, the god-slaying sword array also appeared and directly suppressed Qin Feiyang and Shuigang. Wait! Why are there so many battle swords? It's not just 100,000. Qin Feiyang raised his head to take a look, and his face turned pale with fright. That's right. It's not 100,000 now. It's 1,000,000 battle swords. This sword array isn't called the God-slaying sword array but the Heaven-slaying sword array. Heaven-slaying sword array, Invincible Shield, this is my real trump card. All of you, go to hell. The black-clothed middle-aged man sneered. Quick! Shatter the heaven and earth cage. Qin Feiyang roared. The 3,000 incarnations immediately attacked the heaven and earth cage. Boom! The heaven and earth cage immediately shattered. But at the same time, the heaven-slaying sword array fell. The 3,000 incarnations couldn't even activate the Eye of Heaven and were instantly annihilated. The speed of the heaven-slaying sword array was too fast. It didn't give Qin Feiyang any chance to resist. Even if the heaven and earth cage shattered, Qin Feiyang and Shuigang couldn't escape. Shuigang looked at the 3,000 incarnations that were annihilated and then at the heaven-slaying sword array. Finally, he looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man. This human was so strong that it made him despair. Even if he transformed, he might not be this person's opponent. Even in the entire Blood Demon tribe, only the Ghost King and the 10 great commanders could defeat him. Phew! Shuigang let out a long breath. He didn't know why, but he relaxed. Suddenly, without any warning, he slapped his palm toward Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang was caught off guard. Like a meteorite, he was shot into the distance along with the power of this palm. Shuigang, what are you doing? Qin Feiyang was stunned and immediately roared. Brother Qin, it's nice to meet you. It's also an honor to fight alongside you. You have to promise me that you will survive. If you want to take revenge for me, you must wait until you break through to the peak 9 heavens realm. Shuigang turned his head and grinned at Qin Feiyang. His entire body exploded in the void. That smile was as if he was facing a family member or a brother. It was incomparably sincere. That smile didn't have any resentment. That smile contained the most sincere blessings. Boom! The next moment, a destructive aura erupted and instantly drowned the world. Shuigang, Qin Feiyang roared, his teeth bared and his eyes cracked. He actually self-destructed his physical body for him. He was a human. Why did he have to sacrifice his own life for him? Was he stupid? Damn it! The black-clothed middle-aged man's roar also sounded in the dust. I won't let you go. Just you wait. If I don't tear you to pieces, I, Qin Feiyang, am not worthy to be a human in this life. Qin Feiyang suppressed the grief and anger in his heart. He turned around and disappeared into the mountains below. Bastard! With a roar, the black-clothed middle-aged man also rushed out of the dust. He also looked very miserable. The 10 shields were also shattered into pieces. He stood gloomily in the sky and scanned the void around him. Where was he? Boom! He immediately released his divine sense and spread it in all directions, but he didn't find anything. Damn it, damn it! It was such a good opportunity, but he let the little bastard escape. The black-clothed middle-aged man was so angry that he was about to go crazy. Damn blood demon tribe! How dare you spoil my plans? I won't let you off easily. And you, Qin Feiyang, do you think you can escape? No matter how you struggle, don't even think about leaving hell alive. The black-clothed middle-aged man smiled hideously. He then dispersed the 10 shattered shields and flew in the direction of the ancient city of Qingyu. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.